Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome once again to another episode of Tarheel by Dark. This episode is happening after some strange dreams have been kicking around the state, and I will leave our illustrious admin, Will Johnson, to explain more, otherwise known as Bushi.
You know those nights when you have those really weird dreams, and you wake up in the morning completely confused as to what's happened and have no way to explain it? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what our current players are experiencing. After they've had one of these freak occurrences, they have elected to communicate with each other and figure out what the blue bloody fuck is going on.
The sun has just set not more than 5 to 10 minutes ago, and Cynthia and Harry Walsh simultaneously receive phone calls as Faye has conference called them both.
Walsh picks up his phone on speakerphone. Hello?
So does Cynthia, and you can kind of hear a slight echo from the other room.
For a moment, all you hear is cats meowing and squeaking in protest. And then, I thought they were dead. I thought that I couldn't get to them.
Walsh says, hold on, slow down. What's going on?
The cats. I thought they were dead. They were. I couldn't get. The floor. I couldn't get to them, and
Walsh, literally, I'm going to roll at this point intelligence, performance, specialty, oratory. This is going to be 7 dice, I think it is.
Actually, it should be charisma performance.
Oh, sorry, charisma performance in this case. Sorry, yeah, that's no intelligence. Intelligence perform is for the debate. Necessity. This is charisma, right? So that's hang on, 2 dice. Let me find my perform. Yes, that's 4 specialty oratory. That's 4 dice. Let me drop that back by 2. Walsh rolls charisma performance specialty oratory, and with 4 successes, says to Faye, "Okay, Faye, I can't help you until you are able to articulate what exactly it is that's been bothering you. So take a step back, reevaluate what's happened, and start from the beginning. What happened?"
At that, you kind of hear Cynthia just sobbing over the phone in the other room, and you hear a huge bang, and it kind of a splurt over the phone, and she's kind of crying, going, "You had a weird dream too? But you guys are still here, and
Walsh,
it seems like..."
Yeah, sorry. Walsh is going to roll again to address that. That's 3 successes to say to Faye over the phone. Sorry, not to Faye, to Cynthia. Cynthia, it's okay. It's okay. What? Okay. Everyone had strange dreams because I've had some nightmares myself. So let's all take a step back and one at a time go over what our nightmares were and then figure out what they mean.
Also, you kind of hear under her voice, "Fuck, I'll have to clean that up later."
Walsh holds his head in his hands and says, "Did you blow up any of my equipment?"
No, I didn't blow up any of your equipment. I apparently was hugging a blood bag.
Walsh breathes a sigh of relief and goes, "Okay, it wasn't any of my equipment. We're all cool. We're all cool." Now, Faye, you said you had a nightmare. What happened?
The shelter was on fire, and there was like tar all over the floor. I couldn't get to the door because my feet were sticking, and I could hear them screaming and trying to get out of trying to get out of the door.
Okay. Will, do I need to roll a second charisma perform, or can the first one succeed for what I'm about to do?
That'll you've already wrote it. It'll be fine.
Walsh literally says, Cynthia, are the cats with you at present?
You hear a very confused, huh?
Sorry, no, I said I meant to say Faye. Sorry, out of character. I meant to say Faye. I accidentally said Cynthia. Sorry, that was a wire cross. Walsh would have said Faye. So Walsh says, Faye, are the cats still with you?
You hear a very annoyed squeak from a female kitten. Yes.
Walsh says, then it's not. Then as far as we know, this is only a dream. Until we have new data otherwise, this is only a dream. Cynthia, what was yours?
You kind of hear just quivering in her voice. Well, I was at the circus. I was having a lot of fun. I was playing games, and I think I was winning, but then just one moment, I'm seeing these bloody bodies hanging from the game stalls, and you guys were there, and your faces just seem like they're slightly disappearing, and lots of blood, and I didn't know what to do. I thought you guys were gone. At this point, you kind of, if you were to go into the next room, she's literally shivering.
Walsh literally walks into the next room, puts a blanket over Cynthia, even though he knows that it's not necessary, but he does it anyway to try to help mentally stabilize her, and says, Cynthia, what you experienced, as far as we can tell, was a dream. And then Walsh grimaces a little bit, and you see his expression change from this concerned look to this very almost sort of angry look, but not you. You know, it's like he's angry at something. And he says over the phone to both of you, to both Faye and Cynthia, I just dreamt last night of being in a boardroom of some sort, with my being put into an Iron Maiden while my work was being burned in front of me. Then the dream flipped to me being crucified on a cross with people trying to feed me. Hang on. Will, what was it that Walsh was being fed again?
Holy water.
Yes. Walsh was where he says, I was being sprinkled with holy water as the sun was coming up. Somebody is playing on our worst fears, I suspect. I suspect these dreams, the fact that we have all three had these dreams which reveal our worst fears, I suspect somebody has found a way to get into our minds, tap our worst fears, and be able to try to play them against us. Now, if mine is... Sorry, you're saying?
No, you go first.
Walsh says, now, if mine does come to pass, I know that I will be dying a martyr to my cause. But that's a different story, and I'm prepared to accept that a possible eventuality if and when it comes. You two?
Cynthia... Oh.
Yeah, sorry, no. Cynthia, you were saying Cynthia says.
Cynthia looks up at Walsh and goes, I understand losing you guys, but what's the circus have to do with it? I don't understand that much. I mean, it's not like I have anything. And then she just kind of stops there and thinks back.
While she's doing that, Walsh is going to roll intelligence occult to figure out if there was anything suspicious about that circus they visited. Just going back through his memories.
All right, go for it.
2 successes. He's specifically scanning his memories of the circus to figure out if there was anything untoward that might have been occult or supernatural going on there.
2 questions. 1, does Walsh have eidetic memory?
Yes. But he's scanning his
Two.
memory for the.
I assume you're referring to the little county fair that you guys visited.
That one.
Nothing.
Yeah, we hadn't finished playing out
from-
that scene yet, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's an extended scene. Nothing from your memory is really coming up as it having had any kind of occult leaning.
Walsh.
But something else does pop in your mind.
Mhm.
You remember about a week ago seeing an advertisement that an actual legitimate circus was supposed to be in town.
Walsh raises an eyebrow at this and goes. Walsh raises an eyebrow after scanning his memories and relays this to both Cynthia and Faye. If these are what I suspect they are, you guys are both Malkavian, correct?
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
Both of you might have, if memory serves, both your clan have the ability to foresee the future.
Yeah, but it rarely makes this much sense. It's usually disjointed and,
Broken.
Malkavian-y.
Just Cynthia pipes up. Broken.
Exactly.
I have a hypothesis, and I want to. I have a hypothesis, but to do this, I need to make a phone call. Yes, you're here.
All right, good.
Walsh proceeds to pull out his cell phone pull out all the business cards that he stored and go through his Rolodex on his cell phone, and locates a number that the prince once gave him. Walsh proceeds to call the number for the prince.
Can I roll anything to try and see what you're doing, since I can actually see what you're doing?
You don't need to roll anything. You blatantly see what my character's doing.
Or who you're trying to call?
Yeah, you'll see two numbers that show up. One that just says the prince, and basically Walsh just hits the button on his phone.
Could it be something or someone I recognize?
Not the number.
Okay.
No, but you will see
you
a
would
tag.
recognize that Prince
Yeah.
is obviously Sam, but nothing else.
Yeah. Walsh calls the number for the prince's cell phone, or for the prince. It either goes to SJ Holdings voicemail or it goes straight to the prince. One of the two, or a secretary.
Thanks for calling SJ Holdings Investment Business Inquiry Department.
Walsh
Our
says,
business is currently closed right now. For a directory, please press 2.
You hear
Walsh
all of
Cynthia
the
laughing
calls.
over the phone.
Please press 3.
Walsh presses 3.
You have pressed 6. Is this correct?
I'm going to roll intelligence computers, specialty quantum computing to hop onto the network to bypass this particular menu.
Okay.
Because of the fact that this thing is doing it correct, I'm going to have Walsh override it to make sure that it does it correctly. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes to make the phone register correctly which call it's supposed to go through.
You have pressed 3. Is this correct?
Yes.
You have pressed 3.
Walsh jokingly says,
Please
"Do I need?"
state the nature of your call.
Walsh says, "Please tell the CEO his tech advisor needs to speak to him. Emergency priority." And with that, hangs up the phone.
Within moments, your phone rings.
Walsh hits the recording button, or hits the accept call button.
You wanted to speak with me?
We may have a problem. Normally, I would not. Normally, my prince, I would not bother you with something this trivial. But given the fact that three of us have had potential dreams of bad omen, two of which were coming from Malkavians, and were very precise, I'm a little bit concerned enough that I thought I should bring this to your attention.
Okay, I'm listening.
The first one, the mine is irrelevant for now. The first two, which came from the Malkavians, one of which was Faye Palmer having visions of her cat shelter burning down, a thick tarry sludge, and all of the cats dying inside, and Cynthia. Hold on, what's Cynthia's last name out of character? Walsh knows it, but I've forgotten what it is.
Cynthia just kind of goes, Rose.
Pennington.
Cynthia Pennington. No, that was out of character that I asked. Walsh would have given the correct name.
Yeah.
Walsh says,
but over the phone, you hear a muffled Rose.
Yeah. Walsh basically says Cynthia Rose Pennington has had a vision of a circus where which was completely full of bloody corpses, and both Faye and I disappearing. Now, I remember hearing that a new circus has come into town. Should we investigate, my prince, on the grounds that it might be possible untoward activity, shall we say? I don't know how secure this line is.
On the side note, over the phone, beside you kind of hear, wait, circus coming to town, traveling circus, Zira? And
you hear Sam respond.
And a very worried Malkavian.
Okay. If you would like to investigate, I will not stand in your way, but I will advise you to be very careful.
Walsh says this now comes to the final point of my dreams, and I'm a little bit concerned about. I'm a bit concerned about both of them, and I wanted to run this by you because of the possibility that the boardroom that I saw in the dream may represent the council.
Okay.
I know that I have made a transgression against the council, and I spoke out of turn the last time we were there at Elysium. I had a dream of being placed into an Iron Maiden with my work being burned in front of me in a boardroom setting. Do the council want my head?
That I am aware of, you may have rubbed some persons the wrong way, but I am not aware of any sentiment so ill as to require your physical death.
All right, then that at least rules out the council. That was the other reason I needed to speak to you, my prince. Before we hang up, one small clarification on a ruling made by Duke Dannington.
Okay.
I have given over. I have given over joint control of the quantum internet technology to both Duke Menashe and to your knight, Sir Wallace. Now, as far as I understand, it is okay under their control to turn the quantum internet into micro wormhole technology. Now, I wanted to get your clarification. I wanted to be very specific. Do you ban me from ever using a wormhole again in this state? If so, I will abide by that edict, but I needed to make sure that that was actually what you wanted.
Yes, Mr. Walsh, that is what I wanted.
Okay, just wanted to be clear. Walsh also says, if this is because of the earthquake that happened near your summer home, I am dreadfully sorry about that.
Well, actually, I wasn't aware that you had anything to do with that.
Cynthia just goes, I'll help pay for that if that's what you need.
Walsh then says,
no, that won't be necessary. There was very little damage.
Walsh says, then if that was not the reason, may I ask why? Again, not going against your wishes, my prince, just wanting clarification as to why.
A predecessor of yours who met his unfortunate demise at the hands of our Guru neighbors also had his had some access to that technology, and unfortunately, he was less than judicious about its application, and this caused a great deal of security concerns. And this is not me assuming that you are Dr. Ekman, but the probability is there. And as thinking in the defense of the state, it is an edict that was necessary.
Walsh nods and says, one small issue of clarification, my prince. If it was ever necessary to provide faster-than-light communication through the quantum internet, the wormholes that would be opened would be easily masked by the internet signature. It would be no more than 2 centimeters in diameter.
On the side note, Cynthia just kind of perks up. Wait, so if you technically have his technology, then why do you have it if, sorry, Your Highness, but if you don't like it?
That technology, unfortunately, is one that is difficult to dispose of. And for some time, our allies amongst the spellcasters were able to mask the technology and keep some control over it. Unfortunately, it's my fear that even they, in their significant amount of power, may not be able to keep it contained.
Walsh pipes up at this point and says, "My prince, I may not. I am certainly nowhere near Dr. Ekman's lack of restraint. I have given the technology and the full capabilities, plus my modifications to it, over to both your knight and Duke Menashe to act as joint controllers of the technology. But I was hoping that if maybe it would be more beneficial that no wormhole be opened without all three of us agreeing on its use, just to prevent any one of us from going rogue."
Oversight committee of sorts may not be a bad idea, but as I'm sure you are aware, my voting in the council is but to only break ties. Your idea would most likely be better served pitched to one of the dukes or duchesses.
This also puts another security breach as a possibility, my prince. I should have mentioned this earlier, but Duke Reynolds may actually be up for breaking tradition, if my suspicion is correct. I would like to lay the.
Do you have a report?
Yes, I do. Based on what happened when after the Elysium last time, I gave her one of my quantum logic gates, the ones that were establishing the proto-network that I had in mind, the one that you and a couple of others were on.
Continue.
She gave that cell phone and left it in a public Walmart. Now, I've disconnected it from the network, but for that period of time that it was out, anybody could have gotten their hands on it, and I would not have known. So firstly, I would like to put myself
hear
yeah.
What sounds like fingers tapping on a table on his end of the line.
Yes, and Walsh says, now the good news is that, again, there was no sign of breakage into the network because I would have been notified. But nonetheless, though, the fact is that I made a mistake by giving her one of those chips because I trusted her and also wanted to keep an eye on her. And number two, she made a very possible breach of the masquerade had I not gotten that chip back offline.
Okay. Here is the process that I would like for you to go through.
Okay.
I would like for you to speak with your Duke or Duchess, who, if I'm not mistaken, is Mr. Dannington. And I would like for you to explain to him that you would like to lodge a formal charge.
Walsh also says that may be an issue of conflict. There may be an issue of conflict of interest in here, and I'm a bit concerned as to what is the appropriate response. What is the appropriate way to handle this? Because while I reside in Dannington's district, I am also Reynolds' keeper of Elysium, lodged with the Harpy.
In that the Harpy in this situation represents the most impartial officer of the court, I would have no qualm with that.
Okay. Well, Walsh says I will lodge a formal charge. I will lodge a formal charge with evidence, both from my own memories and from the quantum logic system, of what Duke Reynolds did, and let the court decide what to do. Let the council decide to do with it as they will.
Assuming that Cynthia has Faye on speakerphone right now, you'll hear her pipe up. Don't forget that you have witnesses.
Walsh said, noted. I have both. I have Duke Menashe, Faye, and Cynthia all as witnesses to what happened.
Very well. Do include this in the formal report that you lodge with the Harpy.
Will we be called before next Elysium to give witness, or will this not be dealt with until Reynolds is caught?
I will be meeting with a number of my staff to reach a decision as to how to go from here. Before I can make a decision either way, the formal complaint of charge has to be in the Harpy's ledger. So you will have to do that regardless of our next steps.
All right, I will take care of that forthwith as soon as I can get a hold of the Harpy. Out of character, Jess, could you possibly try to message Josh and see if you can get him in here?
Yeah, give me a minute. On the side note, before the prince actually hangs up, Cynthia, just because she doesn't really know if he's hanging up or not, she's kind of butts in going, by the way, I'm sorry for our last visit, and I'm sorry about all that. I didn't... Am I bad?
I assume you refer to the incident at Mr. Walsh's lab.
She nods, even though you can't really see her, but she's just kind of making just sad noise. Yeah.
As that did not occur within my domain, it is not within my right to find fault. If Mr. Walsh is satisfied and any recompense that needed to be paid has been done so, you have no issue from me.
Walsh pipes up and says, actually, I believe the tradition is that that only the prince or elder among thee can contradict thy word in thy own domain. So I believe it is your call. I believe it is your call to make that judgment if you wish.
It is, however, I am delegating that call to you.
Noted, says Walsh.
Within
She-
your domain.
Oh,
And only within your domain.
Yes, Walsh says noted.
She looks at Walsh. Did I do bad?
Walsh holds his finger in his hand and goes, "Not this time. I made an error in judgment based on the fact that I heard the cupcakes remark."
Also,
Yeah.
you kind of
I'm
see,
really sorry about that too.
by the way, Walsh, you kind of see her kind of pull out a chain from underneath her clothing and just kind of hold on to it slightly and lets out a sigh of relief.
Walsh gently grabs the chain, understanding what the code means, and says, "Don't worry, Cynthia. I will not use this unless absolutely necessary," and hands the chain back to you.
She smiles.
And with that, Walsh said, "Is there? I'm just trying to see if Josh is online right now. It doesn't look like it under either of his identities." Walsh says, "Well, I will lodge that formal complaint with the Harpy as quickly as possible, and as soon as that's done, my prince, we can continue from there. I understand the concern about the my use of the wormholes. I will leave it firmly in the hands of your knight and Duke Menashe to decide for now, and they can oversee my section of the quantum internet if need be to make use of the wormholes, because I know that they are a lot more sensible about it than I might be."
Very well. Also, I noticed that Mr. Buttercrumbie gave you a card during our last meeting. Had you had a chance to discuss with him?
I haven't had a chance to phone him yet. My attempts at pursuing Duke Reynolds and trying to track her down have been that plus getting some work done around my lab has been taking up most of my time. I've given everything that I could find on. I gave everything I could find to Duke Menashe, but the trail went cold a little while ago.
I understand.
I had been hoping that Duke Reynolds would have been smart enough to keep the quantum logic chip on her, A, because of the fact that it wouldn't mean that there was a charge against her, and B, that this way I could have followed your edict about warning her simply by giving her a call and saying, "Consider yourself warned."
Well, that's kind of my fault. I didn't clarify that.
Cynthia just
By
kind of
warning, I
perks up
was
at
meaning
Walsh.
more of a physical warning.
Ah, well then in that case, I'm sorry if I overstepped my bounds.
Oh no, it's quite okay.
Yeah.
No, but she kind of looks up at Walsh, and the prince and Beaufay can hear this. Just, what if she knows she's in trouble and doesn't want to be found?
That's probably why she nearly reached the masquerade with that cell phone thing chip.
That would mean we'd have to do a lot of tracking and just...
I think she knows she screwed up and she's trying to run away. Either that or she's trying to run away so that we'll be distracted from her real plan. Whatever that may be.
Walsh says, "One other thing, my prince. As I understand it, the chain of command goes Duke, Knight, Keeper of Elysium, correct?"
Going downward, yes.
Walsh says, "And as far as I understand, Duke Reynolds has no registered knight at present."
Not that I am aware of.
Walsh says, "Then technically speaking, does that mean that my position as her Keeper of Elysium is forfeit when the charges are laid? Or do I get to run her district until a new Duke is selected or until she's brought back and faces trial?"
You may speak for her district. However, be aware that you will, pardon me, you will not be able to have the same exact rights that she enjoys on the council.
So I will not be able to vote in her stead?
Voting. It's complicated. Voting as far as small issues of let's just say small issues, but issues affecting the state at large, you may vote in her stead. But be aware that she does retain the right to overrule those that vote upon her return.
Understood. Now, my question is that as soon as that report is lodged with the Harpy, does that technically strip me of the Keeper of Elysium status in light of the fact that she is now not in favor with the council anymore?
No, sir. What that simply does is allow you retain the position. In addition to speaking on her behalf.
Actually hears this over the phone, and everyone else does because she's thinking out loud again. I wonder how many Malkavians are on the voting block, and what would it take to actually get on there? I don't know.
Miss Pennington, to answer the question, the Toreador currently hold 4 positions.
She perks up
And
by the
they
answer.
hold the largest block on the council.
Wait, did I say that out loud?
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid you did.
Are there any of our family on there right now?
There are 2 members of your family, both Duke Odom and Duke Helms.
You hear the chain just kind of shuffling a bit as she's nodding.
Now, as far as your question as to whether or not they are within the voting block of the Toreador, I am not aware if they are.
I'm pretty sure nobody really knows what's going on in Malky's head, not even the Malky themselves.
Hey, I know what's going on in my own head. We're in the moment when over the Malkin network we see the birds flapping in circles.
I mean, I'm aware of what's going on in my head, but I can't pretend to understand it half the damn time.
The bird, she perks up and just goes, fair point.
Walsh brings Nathaniel Ashford in on the conference call and says, Mr. Ashford, my apologies for our earlier meeting, and I'm sorry for the abrupt calling, but Prince Josiah is on the line, and I want to lodge a formal charge of breach of the masquerade, violation of the first tradition with Duke Reynolds, of Duke Reynolds breaking the. How do I do that? How do I lodge it with you so that this way I'm saying that Duke Reynolds attempted to breach the masquerade?
Now, keep in mind, I've just been brought in on this situation. The most important thing is you have evidence.
Walsh says there are 2 things. Walsh, out of character, did I put Nathaniel on the okay. Walsh is going to.
No, you didn't.
Okay, Walsh, I'm going to roll intelligence, computer, specialty, quantum computing, and deepnet to lock lock Nathaniel in so that he can send the metadata about what happened with regards to the phone that Reynolds had. This is just sending metadata. It's not actually linking him to the network.
All right. So essentially,
okay.
And Faye says, Faye also speaks up. There were witnesses, remember, Mr. Walsh?
Yes, I know. I'm getting to you guys as well, but I want to send the metadata first. Walsh said that's 6 successes to send the metadata, including the video footage of the Walmart shopping center.
all right.
Okay,
This
that
was
goes
the-
through to you.
Yeah. Walsh says this was video footage from a phone that was linked to the quantum network. This was the quantum logic chip I gave to Reynolds. It was left in a public Walmart. Anybody could have gotten their hands on that network and exposed who we were. If it weren't for the fact that I figured it out and disconnected it from the network before anything went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia just kind of perks up. Wouldn't the phone still be there, or has anybody taken care of that yet?
Oh, the phone itself, the chip is fried. There's no way they can. There's no way they can get back access to the network from that.
But the phone itself should still be there, right?
The phone itself
Even
should still be there, but there's no way to connect back to the network.
Yeah, but the evidence that the chip was there should still be there, and
I
the fact that it belonged to Duke Reynolds should be there, right?
Walsh,
I
you
thought-
recall
Yes.
that David did have say something about having someone secure the phone.
Yes. Well, Duke Menashe took care of that. Duke Menashe took care of securing the phone for me. I'm going to owe him for that, but that's another story for another time. Actually, while you're here, Mr. Ashford, could you lodge in the ledger that I owe one major boon to Duke Menashe?
And you just basically hear a small bit of scribbling on the line. Consider it done. So, my advice to the course of action. You have evidence launched to me, which I'm going to have to show to the council, and what I would propose to do is use the power as a harpy to strip her of status. You know what that means, correct?
That also means my Keeper of Elysium position disappears.
Yes,
Prince.
but given the fact that it jeopardizes our entire existence, I'm willing to suggest taking the hit.
Walsh says that. Walsh says, "My prince, does this actually work out? Do I lose that status immediately?"
Under the circumstances, you typically would. However, I am prepared to recognize that status by simply reallocating that Keeper of Elysium status that Reynolds gave to you to myself.
That is fair, says Walsh. Okay.
Ooh, lucky.
Walsh says that takes care of that. Then yes, by all means, Mr. Ashford, please go ahead and strip the Duchess of status.
Mm-hmm. I would perhaps also suggest a council meeting be held in the next few days to discuss filling the power vacuum, so to speak. Because not holding any status, she certainly isn't going to hold her position.
Walsh says, I have reason to believe, and again, this is only conjecture at this point in time. Let's just simply say that if someone, Walsh says, hold that thought, and calls Marquez up.
Meanwhile, I am turning my nuclear key.
Yep.
You hear
Walsh
Marquez's
proceeds
phone
to.
ringing. You hear it ringing on the line a couple of times before it's answered. But you're unable to hear Marquez's voice on the other end of the line. You know it's his voice, you know his accent. But what you hear in the background is a very loud pumping bass speaker.
Okay, I've already taken care of that.
As well as what sounds like maybe a DJ.
Yeah, 6 successes to use a filtering to use the inbuilt microphone on the phone to filter out the background noise of the bass.
Okay, you got it.
Walsh, clearly being able to hear Marquez's voice now, says, Duke Levitolia, I am on the line with Nathaniel Ashford the Harpy and the Prince because of the fact that Duke Reynolds has just been or is about to be stripped of status. Now, because of the fact that the Harpy has recommended the power vacuum be filled where Duke Reynolds used to sit,
Now,
would
Mr. Walsh, give
Sorry.
me just a minute, Mr. Walsh. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. And you hear the sounds of that thumping bass gradually begins to soften.
Mhm.
And as you hear Marquez's voice, almost like he's talking to someone else.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I'll be right back. I got to take this call. If you run out of liquor, just get Jimmy to go get some more. It's not that hard. Jesus.
On the side note, through the speaker, you kind of hear
Sorry
Cynthia.
about that, Mr. Walsh.
You hear Cynthia just going, That's a good beat.
Walsh,
You also hear Faye trying not to laugh.
yeah. Walsh says Duke.
Sorry about
Duke,
that, Mr. Walsh. Sounds like sometimes schools just kind of gotta know their place.
Yeah. Walsh says, I know the feeling. Walsh says, Duke Levitolia, do you remember when you said over our last conversation that if Reynolds were in pieces, you might nominate me or back me for her ducal position?
I seem to recall saying something. I don't remember if it was so much in pieces.
But Walsh says, sorry. I apologize. My memory is a little too clear sometimes. Anyway, the important part is the fact that we've got I've got Mr. Ashford on the line right now. He's about to strip Duke Reynolds of status for a breach of the masquerade. Quick question: he was recommending that the council be sometime met to fill the power vacuum that Duke Reynolds' stripping of status will leave. I'm wondering, would you still be up for possibly nominating her for her ducal position? I also have the prince on the line, so he can hear your position accordingly.
I would be, I would not be opposed to you holding that seat. So, in short, if you submit your name when the seat becomes vacant, which it's about to, I will vote in favor.
Walsh nods and says, Walsh says to Mr. Ashford, has Duke Reynolds been stripped of her status and has that vote been registered?
Mm-hmm. He basically, just in a very pompous way, her abjuration is very much complete.
Sorry, what was that again? I didn't quite hear that. That was out of character. I didn't quite hear that.
Her abjuration is very much complete, sir.
Walsh says, granted. Then with that understanding, Walsh proceeds to conference call. Let's see, who else was. Walsh Walsh got the prince on the line. He's got Marquez and he's got Marquez on the chip. I'm going to have him call Andy. I'm going to have him call basically because Walt's not online. I'm going to call every Duke except the Biltmore one, except Biltmore and Menashe. And basically, this is going to be a teleconference call. This is going to be a intelligence computer specialty deep net to get every phone number and get them on the conference call.
All right,
we could try to get Walt online, couldn't we?
There is that possibility, but I don't know if he's online.
It's Friday night. He probably won't be on till late.
Yeah, exactly. So easier just to do this now without the other Dukes present, or without those two present, since we can't get them. And I don't want Will playing Walt's characters for fear of meta crossovers, so we do it this way.
I don't want to play his characters.
Yeah, exactly. So it works out either way. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes to get every Duke online, except for Biltmore and Menashe.
Or at least everyone that you've got contact for.
Well, I was using the DeepNet specialty to track their phone numbers and then call them accordingly.
That's assuming that was the right phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is fair point. Okay, should I roll a fate die to determine if that was the right phone number or not?
No, because I can tell you for sure that it wasn't.
Crap. All right. Well, so much for that plan.
Andy's phone seems like it's ringing. but she doesn't pick it up.
Walsh basically says, "All right, so much for that plan. I was kind of hoping to get a ducal vote tonight on this, just to clear the air and get everything worked out."
Oh, I'm sure the crown will be cricking your neck in no time flat. Come on.
On a side note, through another thought, that I owe people.
Oh, God. Am I really going to have to recite everything now? Oh, boy.
I'm sure you could just email it to Cynthia.
That's probably a better option.
Wait, what?
Computer, can you use them?
Why am I using the computer?
Cynthia, you said it out loud.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to use a backup plan, intelligence computer specialty quantum computing, to use the Prince's network because I know the Prince has contact info for all the Dukes.
All right, go for it.
In the meantime, Faye, being both Andy and Marquez's Knights and Keeper of Elysium, calls the phone number that she has for Andy in order to add her to the conference call.
All right. As a little computer roll I'm doing, because Ashford's a paranoid fuck, he's basically tracking where on the network he is by pinging it. Basically going, where is my data and where is it being sent to?
What you see from the assuming that you, because you got entangled into the network by remote, what you see is that all of the data packets are going through a quantum entanglement from your phone directly to Walsh's supercomputer in his own lab.
Uh-huh.
So basically, you are in a secure.
Yeah, your IP is only dialing out, and or it's dialing one specific other IP for every packet sent.
So basically, what you see is you see the IP, and it even says on it Walsh's supercomputer.
Blessed bloody gods, he built Galactus as a computer.
Walsh says not to worry. By the way, that was 5 successes to use the quantum logic gate in the Prince's computer in his vacation summer home to link through to get the remaining numbers of the remaining Dukes that are not played by Walter. They're not played by Walt.
All right, that is successful.
Walsh proceeds to call all of those numbers and add it to the conference call. Sorry, you're saying?
Okay. You hear all of them ring, in which Andy's phone picks up. When it does, you can hear on the other end of the line, what sounds like at least 2 voices, heavily breathing, followed by Andy's voice. What would you like, Mr. Walsh? I'm a tad busy.
Walsh says, I have the Prince, the Harpy, and a number of other Dukes on the line. This is an emergency conference call to vote in a Duke in replacement of Sarah Reynolds, who has just been stripped of her status.
Give me one moment. You hear her set the phone down. And in what seems like literal seconds, those 2 voices that you heard, or those other 2 voices that you heard, Walsh, you've been around long enough to know what a female orgasm sounds like.
He's probably given a few of them, too.
At which point you hear Andy rapidly shoo the other 2 ladies out.
Cynthia, you kind of hear a giggle across the phone. Wow, that sounds fun.
Sounds like $2 drink night at the BDSM club. What are you talking about?
You can almost hear Faye's silence through the phone. followed by another cat squeaking in protest as she accidentally squeezes it too hard.
All right. Now, what can I do for you, Mr. Walsh?
Walsh says,
Which
I have
actually,
already.
before you answer that, Mr. Ashford, if I ever have a $2 drink night at my bar, you can assume that it's not me.
At that point, Faye cracks up laughing.
Yeah. Walsh proceeds to say, to bring you up to speed, Duke Amos, I have laid a formal charge of breach of the masquerade against Duke Reynolds, with evidence being both by witnesses and the metadata from the quantum logic chip that she left in a phone in a local Walmart that could have been that could have exposed our entire existence.
Give me just a minute, bud. My aunt's pulled in.
And while we're waiting, this is brought to you by. So while we're waiting, this is now an advertisement break, brought to you by. Well, what should we have it brought to people by?
Rats with legs.
Blue Ox, World of Darkness in particular. Do you want me to keep on going?
Well, I'm just trying to think about what we could do to fill the time while we're waiting for our illustrious admin to get back.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the other kind of harpy has landed.
Yes, exactly.
While we've got a moment for an advertising break, I want to give out a shout out to Connie from Tales from the Foster Kittens, and express my condolences for her recent loss of a very sweet cat. I know that this particular cat declined much more quickly than anybody had thought she would. I want to take this moment to just say that, this is the face of rescue people. We bring in animals from the deep love that we have, and they're never with us long enough.
Yeah. I would like to plug a couple of other shows on this channel. Number one of which is the new series Mathematical Morality, which is coming out every Monday night, or as close to every Monday night as I can, here on the Overlapping Magisteria channel. This is based on the paper on Science as Morality, and what we'll be doing is we'll be taking a moral issue every week and seeing what science and mathematics have to say about it. So the previous episode is already up on the channel, which is the one about game theory. And stay tuned for the next episode, which I have no idea what I'm going to be doing yet. That's for another 3 days for me to figure out.
Ooh, game theory, yay.
Yeah, it's actually rather interesting. Just a quick little recap. It's basically a University of Maryland professor rigs an exam, and that rigging of an exam could be a perfect metaphor for society.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dun 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 dun. All right.
Essentially, you actually have to, get caught up on that. Anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
anyway.
While sleepily drinking scotch, I get to exercise the harpy's ultimate weapon to make someone's life a living hell.
Oh?
Okay.
Out of character, I have to ask.
Yep.
Because it's kind of been circling around that her life boon, the harpy doesn't actually know. And it might be brought up soon. Like, not soon, but...
Well, there's a reason why there's a reason why Walsh hasn't revealed that life boon yet. And the primary reason is because of the fact that if he reveals the life boon, he has to reveal why she has the life boon, and that will automatically negate the purpose of the life boon.
So currently, since the harpy doesn't know, she's kind of scot-free right now.
Yep. You're kind of shot in the foot.
Yep.
But at the same time, now if Cynthia doesn't marry Walsh...
Walsh does reveal exactly what he knows.
You sneaky, sneaky bastard.
And technically speaking, the thing is that Walsh is compelled to either marry Cynthia and continue to punish her for her transgressions, or to release the information he knows, because technically speaking, his own path requires that no crime goes unpunished.
Okay, that's fair, but then again, you're
right,
withholding
checking.
information that puts people in danger. You didn't report a boon, so there's no way to enforce it. Her crime looks kind of minuscule, but let's move on
Yeah, I
to
know.
C.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we're back, Walsh says, recapping where we were, Walsh basically says about the fact that he sent the metadata for proof and there were witnesses. But basically, the long and the short of it is, Duke Reynolds left a quantum logic chip which had information about a private network of kindred in a Walmart, which anybody could have picked up and hacked into, had not we dealt with it.
You can almost see over the phone the what the hell look that Andy is giving.
Yeah.
And Cynthia kind of pipes up, wow, we actually have some kind people around here. Huh.
But yeah, Walsh basically.
I assume the phone was handled.
Walsh says David got Duke Menashe got a hold of the phone via his people. I destroyed the chip.
Very well, smartly played.
Even so, the fact that was out there for 2 solid days, that was 2 solid days we could have all been exposed.
How do you know it was just for 2 days?
Walsh says the metadata revealed it. Out of character, it was 2 days, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Walsh says I checked the metadata. It was in transit for 2 days and was in that Walmart for about a day.
She nods.
Yeah. Walsh says, anyway, that leads us to the current reason why I've tried to call all the Dukes simultaneously. I have put my name forward for Duke Reynolds' position. The reasoning being, basically being that by having one Duke on the council who is aware of the modern technological upgrades that society and the government and other groups are developing, means that we at least have one voice on the council who can at least be bringing the latest information in for the council to be able to be kept abreast of ever-changing times.
And also a steroid-addicted version of Big Brother's drug-addicted cousin. Yahoo!
Well, Walsh says, I know that your partner,
Ooh.
Duke Marquez, said he was voting in favor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
2 Dukes.
2 Dukes.
Mr. Walsh.
Walsh says, fair point, 2 Dukes. Sorry, my apologies on that. But the point still stands. The more Dukes are on the council who are abreast of the modern times, the more updated and adaptable the council can be.
And while this is going on and Walsh is pontificating, Ashford is actually going on social media and basically putting out job advertisements and things like that to weed away and steal some of Reynolds' social media influence. And I'm going to make the computer roll for that.
Wow.
Nice!
Oh, well, the roll kind of blows. So,
Actually, hang on.
Was that a botch?
yep.
That
No,
is a
that-
full-out botch.
No, that was a fail because there was still 110 in there.
But there was more. There was more ones than there was successes.
Yeah, there's more ones. So,
Walsh,
on his night, he's clearly a little bit drunk.
hang on. I'm going to Walsh sees what Nathaniel is doing on his network, and I'm going to roll intelligence, computer, specialty, quantum computing to hack back into Nathaniel's phone, pose as him on
Now, keep in
social
mind-
media.
Keep in mind, he's not on the network.
Yep.
No, but the thing is, no, he's kind of on the network because remember it's pinging to Walsh's supercomputer. That connection is still active, so Walsh can see what's going on Nathaniel's phone.
Mm-hmm.
So what Walsh is going to do?
But is he doing it on the phone or is he doing it on the computer?
Good question. Well, Josh, are you doing it on computer or are you doing it on the cell phone?
Simply, he's probably doing it on his laptop because he's in his house. He's drinking. So,
Okay,
yeah.
noted then, and that rule
Yeah,
is
you
then that
wouldn't
rule's
have
negated.
access to that one.
Okay, noted. I just wanted to double check that before I made that rule. Okay.
Okay,
'cause-
so after that roll, Josh,
Yep.
you're not sure which of these two happened because you are rather sheeted to the wind. Either you have just made a glowing Yelp review of Reynolds' businesses, or you just filed a better business complaint about a some barbecue restaurant in town.
Well, they can't all be winners. He essentially just shrugs and goes over his finances while all this is going on real quickly.
Yep. Walsh has an idea. Walsh has an idea. You said
His own finances. He's basically found some spare money in there somewhere.
Walsh says to Nathaniel, "What was that about? We can't all be winners."
Oh, don't worry about it. I was just playing a hand of poker. I lost my shirt.
Walsh says, "Well, if you need a hand with that, if it's online poker, I might be able to give you a hand the next round."
Yeah, fair enough.
And with that, Walsh says, "What precisely did you need me to look up for you?" And I'm going to have him roll. I'm going to have the dice queued.
And by the way, I rolled for that manipulation subterfuge just I did off the cuff. 3 successes. That was a pretty believable lie.
Yep. Okay. Walsh is going to say, "Were you doing this from your phone or your main computer?"
Well, technically, I have a lot of bug-out computers, but there you go. Technically, I'm using my home PC, my laptop, shall we say.
Walsh is going to use intelligence computer specialty DeepNet to hack to ping into his computer. This is not a straight hack; it's more of a trying to get a screen share.
Yeah, kind of. Where are you thing? Exactly.
Yeah, this is more. Yeah, and from that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 successes.
You now know where my computer's plugged in.
Walsh is going to follow up with a secondary roll to get into your computer to help you get the money back you lost on the previous poker hand. Oh, shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 successes.
Wow.
Will, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but Walsh just saw exactly what Nathaniel was trying to do.
That and also some very terrifying things that he's been storing on his computer. Possibly what's, like several chapters of an unfinished manuscript would have forbidden kindred knowledge and all kind of things that are just kind of terrifying.
Would that be sending the information back to your supercomputer?
Yes, it would, as a matter of fact.
So you kind of just you could just hear Cynthia go, "Oh my."
What's going on over there? Cynthia, what happened?
She just kind of retreats her into her mind and just briefly explains what she's seeing on the computer. Through the network.
All right, go ahead, bud.
So, Will, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 successes to hack Nathaniel's computer. He knows what he saw a lot of scary stuff on there, and he knows what Nathaniel was up to with regards to social media. Walsh says
the only thing that you didn't get,
yes,
when you were looking through, you saw some kind of page for BB&T that was blacked out.
Okay, that's the only thing I didn't get. Walsh ignores that and says, "Mr. Ashford, why didn't you tell me you were trying to get Duke Reynolds' social media? Given the fact that her status is stripped, I could easily help you with that." And with that, we're going to run this is going to be another computer roll, so intelligence computer specialty DeepNet. And
Cynthia honestly pipes up.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes to steal Reynolds' social media and hand it using Nathaniel Ashford's Facebook and other accounts, and hand it to Nathaniel Ashford on a silver platter.
Well,
Okay, mark on your character sheets.
Yes.
You have 1 dot of the background. Influence social media.
I already had that.
Increase your dot to 2.
Yep. Will do. Gonna put that under the backgrounds now. Okay, so influence social media, increase that to 2, and Walsh basically hands that to Mr. Ashford on a silver platter and says, "I'm only too happy to do business with a friend."
Thank you. Speaking of which, what you saw in that manuscript is still unfinished, but when I find in the historical records anything relating to the brouhaha, you will be the first to know about it.
Walsh says, "No problem. If it's an unfinished manuscript, keep working on it. I'll be interested to see what the results are." Now, back to the matter at hand. Walsh says the issue now is the fact that I have put myself up for I've put my name in to become Duke Reynolds' replacement on the council. I don't know if there's enough Dukes present because I rang all the phones and I don't know if they're all here, but I was kind of hoping to put this matter to a vote quickly. I'll step out of the room away from the phones while you guys make the discussion, but I was thinking that at least if we could get this over with now, so there's no power vacuum, that will at least give a smooth transition and we can move on from there.
All right, well, since Walsh just did me a solid, I'm going to actually make a manipulation leadership role and try and rally people into, agreeing with this notion, even though I secretly think it's a horrible idea, but I'm going along with it for right now.
And he just dropped. So we'll have to wait till he gets back to
Google thought it was a horrible idea, too.
Why am I not surprised? They want a monopoly on all the advanced, nice technology. Can't let Walsh have it. There's Josh. Okay, you're back, Josh?
Yeah. Thank you, Google, for the temporary interruption. Pardon me. One moment.
Okay.
It'll just be a sec while I roll that monstrosity and spend a willpower on it. Let's see how that goes. Baboosh. Whoa, the politics. Thank goodness I spent that willpower, because only one of those teams gets canceled. Alrighty. That's still 5 successes. So...
All right, noted.
He's basically just clouding it up for you right now to kind of repay the unspoken solid.
Before Walsh leaves, I'm going to roll intelligence. Roll intelligence, perform specialties, debate, and oratory to leave one final thought with the council before he leaves. And that was a fail. Reroll it at a higher difficulty. Try that again. That was still. Oh, that's much better. One of those got neutralized, but this can be combined with Nathaniel's successes. That's 3 successes. Walsh basically says, I aim to serve this state regardless of whatever happens. I apologize for my previous remarks about the council. I understand now that I was out of place and I lacked certain information at the time. Whatever you guys decide to do is entirely your business. I'll just exit for now. And with that, Walsh exits the room.
Well,
See,
this is Sam
serving to the people, a humane, basically very, very down-to-earth person. I think we need to at least garner what little support we can for this. Yep.
And this is Sam speaking here. Well, you, ladies and gentlemen, do understand that there is not a majority of the council here, meaning that we do not actually have the ability to take a vote.
This is true, but it can be done later.
At which point, as the Duke at a Croatown District, I would like to lodge a motion to recommend Harry Walsh to the seat of the Duchess, or let's go to the seat of the former Duchess Sarah Reynolds.
In the absence of Duke Menasha
Second.
as his knight, yes, I gladly second that option, but already done. Nate just kind of picks up his scotch, and then you suddenly hear Closer coming over the speakers of the laptop, and he just kind of signs off. So literally 9-inch nails, and then things just got very creepy.
Walsh, I'm going to roll perception alertness at an increased difficulty to see whether or not Walsh can hear whether it's time to come back into the room.
Go for it.
Increased difficulty 7, so 2 successes. Is it time for him to come back?
Not quite.
Okay, Walsh is still out of the room.
I also would like to make a motion that we move into discussion about the topic at the next available moment that a majority of the council is available.
Out of character, can someone roll me 6 dice?
Sure
Rolling
thing.
you 6 dice. I've got it. Rolling 6 dice.
On it.
Willpower to actually stay quiet during this whole thing.
Okay, somebody else got it before me.
You're doing okay.
You're probably making uncomfortable, squeaky, I want to speak noises, but otherwise, you're good.
Yeah,
Essentially, she just kind of walked away from the phone, but can hear just what's going on for a bit. Still in the room, but you know.
Andy seconds that last motion.
Mm-hmm.
Sam speaking. Both motions have carried. And to make those motions official, I, Prince Sam Josiah of the Tarheel District of the Camarilla, do hereby open and retroactively close this business meeting of the Kindred of the state of North Carolina.
Walsh can come back in now.
Yes.
Walsh pops his head back in and goes, "Okay, so I made an error. I thought I had been able to get the bulk of the Dukes on the phone. My mistake."
You receive a text in literally the next 2 minutes. I imagine you probably interrupted Duke Day's pinochle game, but I don't think you managed to arouse any of them.
Walsh literally holds his fingers holds his finger to his nose and says, "If I get the position, the first thing I'm nominating is an emergency response network. So anytime something like this comes up again, every Duke will be available at a moment's notice."
Yes, because we all want to hear Andy eating out more women.
Cynthia just kind of pipes up over it. I don't know. Sounds interesting to me.
Oh, you'd love it. Oh, you'd love it, Ashford.
Walsh,
I think I'm just going to leave on that uncomfortable little note.
That was supposed to be in her head, too.
yeah. But she probably said it out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, she
Probably.
did say that loud.
She did, but she actually realized she did this time.
Yeah.
Like, dope.
Yeah. Walsh basically says, "Well then, if this meeting is called to adjournment and nobody needs anything else, I will get started on investigating that new circus as soon as it comes to town. And with regards to Duke Reynolds, I will continue to try to locate her and let the council know as soon as possible, as soon as we found her."
Well,
Very
with
well.
no status, she has nowhere to hide. She's not recognized. She's not going to be able to go to ground, so it's going to be interesting.
Walsh does one more thing. Walsh is going to roll intelligence, quantum computers, specialties, quantum computers, and DeepNet to amass all of the to apply a mathematical algorithm looking for blurs on traffic cameras that might fit the height and build of Sarah Reynolds' description.
Roll it.
This is the last roll. This is the last roll of that type. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
Oh yeah, you guys hear one more thing over the phone, and this is reference to certain dukes. Cynthia just kind of ponders to herself one last time, going, I wonder if I could maybe do some research into a certain family. I kind of am wondering what, the Penningtons are doing nowadays.
Walsh also says, Walsh also texts Ashford and goes, oh, before I forget, do I actually have to reveal the reason for a boon being owed, or can I just register it?
Well, typically if it's a very grandiose issue, a reason is kind of warranted.
Well,
You can't just say...
Walsh says Cynthia will confirm she owes me a life boon for reasons I cannot disclose.
You hear a deep sigh over the phone.
And tacking on to that, Mr. Walsh, for keeping this secret as an intelligentsia and breaking my own personal code of ethics, you owe me 2 major ones.
Walsh says noted.
No, but did either, just when she actually had to ponder, did particularly Andy actually hear it?
Yes, but if she did, she didn't seem like she responded.
Okay.
Walsh, back to the computer roll issue because of the 7 successes. Yes, 5, 6, 7. Does
Shockingly, not a thing.
Walsh turns away from his quantum computer back to the phones and goes, I swear, these things are the most powerful computers in existence with the tie-ins to every street camera in the state, and I still can't find her. Not even a whiff.
Maybe she already left the state.
Good thinking. I'll widen my search. Walsh is going to apply the height and build parameters. Bertrand measurements, I believe they're called, to the entire what's the name of the southeastern United States? Maybe that's what it's called. The collection of states: North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, that whole area.
Southeastern United States.
Okay, that's it. Well, yeah, sorry, I just wasn't sure. I'm Canadian. Go figure. Walsh basically
Yeah, sure.
Walsh expands his search to the entire southeastern United States, and okay, one of those got neutralized, but that's still 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. Can I make this a rolling success if I do a second roll?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Rolling a second roll of this. Expanding. That's 4 successes initially. 10 got neutralized. 10 got neutralized. 9 got neutralized. 1 more success, so that's 5. And I'm going to roll 1 more to see if there's anything else that comes up. So we're going to make that a 3, and whatever comes after this, that's the number of successes I get total. And that one was, one of those got neutralized, but that is still 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. So that's 9 successes total to expand to the southeastern United States. Is there any description matching the height and build of Duke Sarah Reynolds with a blur?
Something near the Virginia border.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all you get.
Walsh relays his telemetry to the relays his telemetry to the prince and to the remaining members of the council who are on board, and says, "I don't know if this is her, but this is the best I've been able to get thus far." We may have to go out of state to find her.
That then becomes an issue of jurisdiction, doesn't it?
Cynthia just kind of pipes up, can't you zoom in and actually see if it's her?
No, I can't. all of us show a blur. All of us show a blur on our faces to cameras because of reasons. So I can't actually identify if it's her by facial structure. I can only get height and build. I can only do Bertrand measurements. It's only an approximation. It's not a. It's only an approximation. It's not good enough to be able to. I mean, if there was some way I could override that blur, but I don't have the skills or the occult capability to do it.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to. I was trying to get a Walsh sends the telemetry of the blurred woman to Nathaniel and says, if there were a way I could bypass that blur, I could get the facial instruction. I could get the facial structure and verify if it was Duke Reynolds. But because of the because I have neither the skill, I neither have the supernatural capability nor the technical skills to be able. Basically, I don't have the supernatural skills to be able to do it.
As a point of order,
I do have a question. Could I maybe somehow do spirit's touch on this actually, or you are reading a picture?
it would basically give you the life of that picture as it was made. It wouldn't tell you anything about the person attached to it, dear.
Not in this case, no.
Or reading the aura from...
No, honey, that's not exactly how it works.
Dang.
Yeah, the aura wouldn't transfer over onto the picture.
Yeah, I mean, she's not Merlin. She doesn't have that strong of an aura.
No.
All right. Essentially, this is drunken Ashford here. Keep this in mind. Now, how much of the... Okay, this basically looks like a shadow person, right?
It's a shadow person with the same height and build as Duke Reynolds. That's about all I was able to get.
Height and build. So, no physical descriptors whatsoever.
Other than the clothing she might be wearing, no.
All right. Well, old-fashioned detective work. If I happen to find anything on this woman, I might have to tack on a minor boon to what you now owe me.
That's fair, says Walsh.
All right. Clothing she's wearing, basically doing an investigation perception roll on, retailers. All right, and that's 3, so I'm going to continue to roll this because I'm basically doing research on the road, clothing retailers and, kind of places that she would shop, even though it's probably going to wind up like Costco, but, All right. Given the fact that he's probably hammered drunk while he's doing this, I'm going to be spending willpower on this next one. And glad I did, because I don't want that 10 to go away. Alright. And now he's very, very bleary and getting bored, but he's basically going to send this acquired information over to Mr. Walsh. So altogether, that's 9 successes to give basically a rough idea of where she got the clothes, where she might be, because, number of retailers and the different people they sell to, they usually keep a record. You have a monstrous computer that literally has track of all this data. If you were to plumb that list of people that buy this particular clothing, you might be able to narrow things down. Her description is rather nondescript, but rather tall, statuesque blonde, or, kind of eye-catching.
Walsh has an idea. Bill, depending on that data, I'm going to roll intelligence computer specialty quantum computing to hack into the surveillance footage of all of those clothing retailers to look for the blur.
Okay, before you do this,
Sorry.
Before you do this, be aware you are breaking all kinds of United States privacy law.
Oh, yeah. And if Walsh gets caught due to botches, he's going to be in some major trouble.
No, but she responds to Ashford going, "Oh, I bet you would know, knowing your relationship with Alice."
Walsh is actually going to spend a willpower on this just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Just in case there's a botch, this will reduce it to a failure.
All right. With what she just said, he basically just says, "What about Alice?" Kind of slurring. What exactly do you need to know?
Ooh, hello.
She just kind of perks up. Well, I didn't really mean any offense to that, Mr. Ashford. I'm just saying, I'm decently sure you have a good taste in women.
Yeah, but Sarah had an iron rod up her ass. You had an umbrella stand, unfortunately.
Okay, so that is
That sounds painful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So by the way, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 successes, including the willpower spent.
Oh, God. So you broke all kind of privacy laws.
Did I locate the blur?
You located the blur in multiple places.
Bingo. That's all I needed. Now I've got to run a specialty. This is going to be intelligence academics, followed by specialty intelligence computer, specialty quantum computing. I'm going to triangulate her the location or the zone of her. Basically, I'm going to locate the zone of her haven based on the multiple places she's been, in order to be able to triangulate her her home zone position and where her haven most likely is. So this is intelligence academics to set up the algorithm. Okay, the good news is that only one of those 10s got neutralized. That's 2 successes. That's all I need to set up the algorithm. And now for the intelligence computer, specialty quantum computing. And I am going to go. There we go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 successes to locate the precise zone, but using Bayesian geographical profiling. Basically, the highest probability area as to where her haven is, based on all those stores, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around the Sanford, North Carolina area.
Walsh relays this to how precise is the based on the number of successes collectively? How precise is that zone? Like, is it within a couple of miles?
About 96%.
96% probability, but how large is that zone? Is what I'm trying to get at. Is it a couple of miles? Is it 10 miles? 100 miles?
5.
A 5-mile radius, or a 5-mile diameter, or radius?
Radius.
Thank you. Walsh gives a circle with the center zone and a 5-mile radius circle to the basically relays this to everybody and says, we have a potential zone as to where her haven is. I would recommend that we spread. I would recommend that we send ghouls into the area to track her, and the moment we spot her, we send our men in to retrieve her.
Ashford basically looks at the radius and using actual, basic reasoning, which would be kind of witch perception, I imagine, if we're going to have to roll it. But he basically looks at the radius and, kind of gathers easily fortified positions, places that are near condemned buildings, kind of easy lie low places where kindred would congregate, because you don't really need running water, you don't really need electricity, you don't need food when you're dead because your body doesn't work that way. You just need to be near a small source of people at least.
That will require a roll.
But yeah, Cynthia goes, I don't think you would actually want to send ghouls on it due to the fact that the caution of they might actually be seen.
Dun, 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 dun.
Fair point. Fair point. Ash. Fair point says Walsh.
But if certain things actually knew something like obfuscate, that would be very useful. She just kind of coughs in.
Yep.
In such a way.
Well, Walsh takes the hint, but depending on what we got, that's at least 2 successes from what I can tell.
Yeah, going to continue this roll just a little. So 2 so far. Going up. And we got... Keep in mind he's drunk. He usually gets bored. So that's another 3.
Yep. So 5 successes at least.
Well,
After thinking for a moment, Faye says, Cynthia, we should get together sometime soon, so that I can continue learning obfuscate and auspex from you. I need to up my levels in those.
Walsh says over the phone network, "My prince, may I get a one-time dispensation override of that rule about no wormholes?"
Oh, gods.
I would prefer that you didn't.
Walsh says, "Okay, noted."
Well, out of
At least
character.
Your roll, Josh,
Mhm.
has hit on three potentials.
All right. So, marking those 3 locations out, that's 1 minor boon on top of 2 majors. And with that, I am going to repeatedly nail my hot gangrel girlfriend and drink enough scotch to kill a sailor.
Walsh says, "Noted. We'll catch you at a later point. Mr. Ashford. And thanks again."
No problem.
Walsh proceeds to relay that information to the prince and says, "With 3 potential locations, should the 3 of us fan out and attempt to apprehend the Duchess, or should we leave it to someone else?"
You may wish to contact. No, you don't wish. I'm going to order. You'll need to contact our sheriff.
Walsh says, "Noted." Who is our out of character? Is Ian our sheriff still?
Eric is still considered, or not considered, but
Saint.
yeah, Lucas is still considered the sheriff. But
Okay.
as last heard, he has died, and by tradition, the sheriff would then fall to his hounds.
Walsh
The only
says, "Then
hound that he had was Florian Bouchard.
noted." Out of character, who is
Joey
Florian
is
again?
on right now, if you're curious.
Okay, that answers that. Walsh says, "Then I'll have to contact the. Then I will contact Mr. Bouchard at a later time. And once we notify him, we'll see if he can deputize us to bring Reynolds in."
Cynthia just goes, and you kind of hear this over both the network and out loud. So just more lines of Florian. Wait a minute, we can get a hold of him almost immediately.
One of ours.
Yeah.
That was too loud.
Gooble, gobble, gooble, gobble. Drunkenly. One of us. One of us.
Walsh just bursts out laughing because he can't contain himself anymore. But yeah,
Out of character, do you guys want him in the hangout now?
yeah, that would be good. Because if we can do this all in one scene, this would be if we can get him online, great. If not, we'll postpone this for another scene.
Give me a minute.
Walsh. In the meantime, while Cynthia is contacting Florian through the Malky network, not that Walsh knows this, just heads up. Walsh turns back to the prince and says, "So with that in mind, if I can technically vote as the keeper of Elysium until the ducal vote has happened one way or another, may I make a motion for the may I put a motion on the table for now?" Or is that not doable at this time? Sorry, I'm new to the order of things. That's why I'm asking.
I understand. You can put the motion on the table. Unfortunately, the only way for the motion to be official is for it to be done inside of a business meeting.
All right, and reopening another business meeting is not likely a good idea right now. Fair enough. I'll postpone till later. Walsh says, "I really wish I could have gotten a hold of Duke Reynolds herself, because then we would have been able to, on the prince's order, open a wormhole, assuming she was in an abandoned building, and pull her directly to where I am to address the problem,
Out of
or to where the
character,
prince is."
I have him in here, or he's going to be joining in a few. Perks
How
of
soon?
He's hopping on now.
Okay. Walsh proceeds to Walsh says because my prince, it would be very good the sooner we could get this. If we could, as you said, this technology is hard to get rid of. Having an oversight committee on its use or it's being kept mothballed, a supervisory committee would be a very good idea as soon as we could get one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
On me.
By the way, Walsh is
Beautiful
kind of hears mumbling right next to him, and Cynthia intensely concentrating.
Right.
But
Walsh just
Faye knows what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And as soon as we have
They say he may be a minute.
should we contact while he's waiting, should we get Duke Dannington in here?
Oh God, no.
No, it's not necessary.
Okay,
but-
just checking.
But yeah, out of character, having him on my friends list, so.
Yep.
Goldman.
My arm's falling asleep, but if I try to move, the cat's gonna wake up, and I dare not make the cat upset at me.
That's so cute. Here we go. Walsh proceeds to Walsh proceeds to wait until a telephone call kicks in on his phone, and he adds the next caller to the conference call.
Well, Cynthia would have actually contacted him through network, but essentially she gave him the number to call.
Well, actually, wouldn't he probably knock on the door if he was contacted through the network?
Oh, good point.
Not necessarily. It's up to him.
Yeah, it's up.
However
Again,
he
that's
wants
up
do
to
it.
Yeah, your call, Joey. However you want to do it, that's all up to you. So we'll retcon that bit about conference call until you make a decision.
And like I said, he's most likely looking for his mic.
I'm not surprised. We're all having difficulty with mics today.
Yeah, well, what time of
Mike
night
is
is
such a... Pardon?
End game,
What? Yeah.
about 1:45.
Okay. So let me see if I can do this. Rolling resources. Because I got a lot of money and I'm planning to buy some awesomeness. Alright.
2 successes, not bad.
Gonna continue to roll that and hope I do well. Essentially, what I'm doing in secret is buying some very, very costly but very effective silk armor to stop, shotgun and gun ordnance that you can kind of wear under your clothes as a typical nightshirt kind of thing like mafiosos would use.
Funnily enough, if you'd gone to Walsh, you would have gotten something that was just as light but more powerful.
Yeah, see, this is why you
Well,
need
you have it.
advertising.
Yeah, well, you have
Pardon?
it.
All right. So
Yep.
I lost about 60 grand, but I have awesomeness. Okay, good.
So, Joey, your call whenever you're ready to come on board.
There's
Looks like he's
there's a ring coming in from from someone's cell phone.
Walsh adds them to
actually-
the conference call. Sorry, you're saying?
I was about to say, whoever answers it, you're actually a little surprised because there's no way in hell Florian's ever actually gotten your number unless you've directly given it, and no one has ever received a request for theirs.
Walsh is not surprised in the slightest because of the fact that he assumed Walsh doesn't really care right now. He's more interested in getting a hold of nabbing Reynolds. So he hits the phone button and says, "Welcome to the call. Assuming this is am I right in assuming this is Florian Bouchard?"
unless you have anyone else saved under your phone as grumpy old man, I highly doubt it.
Cynthia also gives a slight nod, and she seems really happy.
Walsh says, "Mr. Bouchard, we have a possible problem. Duke Reynolds has just been stripped of status and has been set up as a target for breach of the masquerade. We have 3 possible locations as to her haven right now, somewhere in the Carson district, in the Carson area. We were wondering if we could get your permission to go in and basically apprehend her. The prince told us to contact you. He's on the line right now."
My prince, I for one am perfectly fine with them doing so. If necessary, I will throw any and all supplies I can muster towards assistance in this. All I need is your green light, sir, which it seems you have given.
This is Sam speaking. You heard the man.
Walsh says, "I'm also in the process currently right now of texting Duke Menashe, so this way he can know in case there's any technical difficulties we need to address." Read Walt's online. I've just sent him the hangout. Walsh says, "My prince, if I can't get a hold of Duke Menashe, I am really thinking it would be a good idea that if we're going to get in and out as quickly as possible, these are abandoned buildings that Mr. Ashford has sent us, with no possible people of being inside them. If I cannot get a hold of Duke Menashe or your knight Sir Wallace, because of the nature of the emergency, I am advising, again, your call, but I am advising that a quick in and out to be able to drop a team in, search the building, and get out would be a very quick way of nabbing Duke Reynolds with minimal breach of the masquerade.
I still
Because
think
she might move before we.
she perked up. I still think people with the ability to obfuscate would be very useful.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm just saying that getting in and out with minimal, without having to spend several hours getting there, because she might move her haven before we get there. If there's too many people crawling around, she might get wise and leave. If we manage to drop in a surgical strike team, we might be able to drop in, get her, get out.
I will say the following in this, and this feel free to take as you will, as someone who knew what storming a Bastille has been like and knowing what storming a building is like in general. If you're going to do this, my recommendation is to have a team come from the top if possible. Given the benefits that kind have given us now, this should not be a problem. The other recommendation that I would so make would actually be the fact that you have, as a team is moving up top, a team is moving on the bottom. For these buildings, you make sure you have 2 teams for each. Again, one for the top, one for the bottom. The only stipulation I have on this entire recourse is the following. Before you bring her to the prince, bring her to me. If the prince does not wish that, that is understandable. However, there is something I must do to ensure that there's something I must do before judgment is passed. That is all I have to say in the matter.
Walsh says Walsh promptly calls Red Owl and brings him on the line.
Hang on, let me switch.
Yeah,
That is acceptable.
yeah, hanging out
That
of
is
the
acceptable, Mr.
toolbox
Bouchard.
is kind of being iffy-squiffy.
Also, Florian sees a small nod over the Monkey Network.
I was not expecting to have to do this, so. Hey, God. Are you? There you are. Okay.
In the meantime, Faye means to say this only over the Monkey Network, but manages to say it out loud. Oh, look, the princess woke up.
Walsh calls
Okay, you're calling David?
It's Cynthia lets out a giggle above the network.
Thank you for calling Red Owl Security. Oh, shalom. Shalom.
Yes. Please forward me to Duke Menashe. Priority, and Walsh gives a priority code to bump himself up the chain to Duke.
Walsh, do you not recognize me now? After all these years?
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
Anyway, go ahead. What's the problem?
Walsh, we've I said Walsh when I meant Duke Menashe. Duke Menashe, we've managed to Walsh sends the telemetry and says we've managed to narrow down Duke Reynolds Haven to one of 3 buildings. I'm going to advocate that I'm going to recommend, as you are one of the 2 in control of the wormhole tech, that we use surgically planted wormholes inside these buildings to drop surgical strike teams in to pounce all 3 buildings simultaneously, to pounce on Duke Reynolds and bring her back.
What is it with you unfolding the fabric of space-time? Oh my goodness.
You hear, give me a minute, and there's a click. Thank you for calling Red Owl Security. Your call is very important to us. Stay on the line and we will get back to you as soon as possible. And this repeats over and over and over for a little while, for like 30 seconds. And then there's a click, and you hear a different voice. Like, Wallace, what?
Walsh forwards the telemetry. Walsh says we have 3 buildings. We have 3 buildings for a possibility of Reynolds' location for her haven. I have tracked all. I have sent the 3 to. I've sent the 3 to Red Owl. What we need is we need wormholes and surgical strike teams on all 3 buildings. We pounce her. We bring her in, and we can do it without breaching the masquerade. One surgical, like I said, quick in and out. No, inside the buildings, nobody even need know that anything happened, and Reynolds will be caught by surprise.
So we're escalating now. Gotcha. Hang on. David, get me that. Already sent it, buddy. All right, let's see. Oh. Huh. All right.
Between Ashford and myself, we were able to narrow it down to these 3 locations.
He looks around. You hear some scuffling. He says, "You." Yes, sir. He writes something on a piece of paper. You hear some scribbling, like a passing of a sheet of paper, and the other voice you heard, "Got it, on it," and that happens twice more with a different voice.
Yeah.
Three different voices that you don't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you do recognize the female voice, because you. He's it's very obvious who the other one is. It's his girlfriend/wife. But anyway,
Cynthia pops up. Who will be the specialized SWAT team for this?
Walsh says, I'm proposing that a wormhole be opened so that we all go in, and the 2 Malkies work under obfuscate to triangle 2 of the buildings and point out. But I'm also calling in the family for additional military support.
Ooh, I like
at
the
which
family.
point David
They
says,
can obfuscate better than I can anyway.
at which point David says, "Yeah, the family will cover the 3rd building, just in case."
Walsh says we're going to need additional strike. We're going to need to call in the cavalry for all 3 buildings. The only reason I'm proposing the obfuscates in is to double check to make sure which building Reynolds is in before we strike. Either way, we're going to need obfuscate. We're going to need firepower. Walsh says. I will stay back here to coordinate, of course.
Cynthia perks up. I can do the firepower in a very, very short time. And can somebody roll me 5 dice for resources, please?
On it.
Sure thing.
Oh boy. There's also another, and then very quickly there's a click.
Whoa.
Reverend Johnson, we have an issue. Just wanted to clear something with you. What is it, David? We're using that tech that a certain friend of ours has. And there's a very long pause.
Walsh says, by the way, I should mention the prince is on the line right now with this conference call. So
And Cynthia got
Sammy?
3 successes.
Mm-hmm.
Then he quit talking. Sammy?
I'm telling you right now, I'm in the middle of a conference call. I can't do it.
Huh?
Yes, I'll take his call in about just a couple of minutes in the middle of an important conference call.
Sammy.
Yes, ma'am.
You authorize this?
I really don't want to, but
If you need the tech, I'll let it happen.
What you want? What you wanna do?
if this goes badly, this is on your head.
Walsh will say no. It's
Dare, boy. The voice
Well-
changes. Don't you dare, boy.
Walsh says this is on my head. I'm the one who made this. I'm the one who made this advice for a surgical strike now, while we still can get Reynolds.
Walsh? I think Harry said.
Yes. I made this recommendation
Will-
because what? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Guthrie.
Walsh says, I made this recommendation against Reynolds because of the fact that she made a major breach of the masquerade using one of my quantum logic chips. She left it for 2 days where anybody could have hacked it. Who knows what else she's planning? David and I managed to address the problem of that phone, but the problem is that we don't know what else she's been doing in the last while. I've managed to find several.
Walsh?
I've managed to find several security cam footages in stores where her blur shows up. If anybody catches that security cam footage, that's a major breach of the masquerade.
Walsh. Baby, listen to me. Sometimes less is more. We can have a powwow after. If this lady is a problem, actually, wait, Sammy, is it that Sarah?
Yes, it's her.
Yes, it's her.
Go for it. We'll talk later. I'm gonna go back
Actually,
to bed
Miss,
tonight.
Miss Daniqua, before you go,
Baby.
I would rather than him using the wormhole technology, I would prefer him use that other thing that you guys can do.
Oh, that's an out of character, not an in character row.
Yeah.
Cynthia
You
to
want me to set up connections like that?
I will have whatever you need from me. I'll ensure that you get it.
Oh,
Water from that place we talked about before, and we'll call it even.
All right, done.
add a
Oh,
character. I need 2 things.
I did
Yes.
your resources roll, and you got 3 successes.
Yes. How soon could I easily have a arsony box coming my way?
Arsenal, you mean?
Cynthia,
Oh,
Within hours.
Cynthia,
Hmm?
stop at Cherry on your way. I have
She gets
something. There's something I will loan it out. It is on loan. Failure to bring it back to me will not be tolerated.
You see a nod through the network. Understandable.
When you get ready to do this, and Will and Walt are here, one of the first sessions we played in, or we dealt with, Florian picked up an M60. He took it from
Yep.
one of the humans. He is signing it out on loan to Cynthia, along with 3 belts. And he
Gotcha.
look on his face of,
Understood.
do not ask how I obtained this.
Understood.
It's okay. In all fairness, you guys hear a click of an MK47, and Walsh kind of sees Cynthia go and grab it from a different room.
Walsh,
You can hear Faye thumping around as she pulls out her anti-infernalist assault rifle and ammunition for it, just getting ready. And then you hear her thump and Cat, get off my phone. And
Walsh is going to roll wits.
Anyway.
and through the Malky Madness Network, you can see this. You can see what Malkies can see what Cynthia's seeing. That big orange cat with no tail is sitting on the phone, looking up at Faye like, "Didn't think you were going on an adventure without me, did ya?"
On a side note, one more thing. To Ashford. On a side note, I do need a certain somebody back with my possession. Would you mind sending him over?
You're referring to Zeke?
I am.
Consider it a minor boon, but sure.
Well, in all fairness, I did kind of lend him out to you for a while, so.
Mm-hmm. He
No problem.
kind of just shrugs. Am I going to have to sober up for this?
Well, don't know, but just saying with him currently, he would be useful with what we're actually getting into. And for one, the little present I left on your front door should be payment enough.
Fair enough.
Okay, yes. A little role play here. You hear Chaniqua say, Levi Menashe. Ken Santa? I've received your coordinates. Done. Todaraba. Mm-hmm. Click. You hear one click on the line.
And everybody here just hears two things from or three things in this order from Florian. One, a sigh, and it's that kind of like, really, you're doing that. Number one. Number two, the sounds of someone thumping on what may be a glass window in a office, followed by a, very well, I will be there. Give me a couple of minutes. Everyone, be careful. Cynthia,
Yeah?
don't bring this back.
Oh, I understand how much you like your baby, and of course.
So, yes, I am loaning it to you as a sign of trust.
Although
Please
you
do not make me regret that.
No problem. And although it would be nice to see you again, but come on, just come out of your hoodie hole this once. And over the Malky Network, you kind of see her just blinking and pleading at you.
What was that last part? I heard the blinking part, but the one before that?
Come out of your heady hole for once, please.
With
And
that, the phone hangs up.
in particular, in the next half hour or so, you see a very Daryl Dixon-like gentleman in a very Grangy Ford truck pull up with an assault rifle slung over his shoulder. Hey, cuz.
Hey, bud, join the party.
Sure. Damn, I lost my skull. Oh, hell.
Oh, your skull's fine. I'm decently sure you could easily fix it with something else.
Don't you remember my damn chewing tobacco?
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
As you know, I'm decently sure why I called you back and what we actually need from you.
Need me to put some holes in some shit, right?
Very sneakily, yes. but not exactly holes per se.
Gonna need my frickin' grenades, or what are we talking about here? And essentially, he just goes into the room and just kind of starts chuckling and laughing maniacally.
No, it's a certain thing you can do, whether the other one can't.
Oh, the you're not there, but you're there shit? Oh, okay.
Why do I have to call on you? She just kind of sighs.
Oh, just for a bit of clarification. Is this a spirit?
Oh no, that's her ghoul, the sharpshooter ghoul, just showing up and.
Oh, okay.
basically-
Okay.
That's actually not the
Okay,
sharpshooter.
because there's a
The other
game
one's
effect.
sharpshooter. The other one's a sharpshooter with Auspex, and this one's her cousin with Obfuscate.
Oh, the manager guy. Oh,
Her cousin, not the manager's a sharpshooter.
yeah, different voice. All right.
Right voice, but you know, you're good.
All right.
So she honestly just kind of, you hear tapping from the other one. So when's my, when is the idiot gonna come in with my supplies?
Walsh, yes.
Wait, is that over the network? Like, it just so never mind.
No, that's out loud because she rolled.
Oh.
I rolled resources 5 earlier, asking for some supplies. So
Oh, okay.
Like I said, within the hour.
okay.
Anyway,
Walsh,
over the conversation, you hear David. Oh.
Yeah. So what? The
And he
mouse
starts
baby-
no, you hear, but he starts looking around. Who sent this? And you hear
Again.
some muffling in the background. We're gonna have to thank them. Who wants this box of guns?
Oh, so that's who I'm going through. Hello. Send it along with my ghoul, please.
Open your door, hun.
She continues to go outside.
Oh, is she outside?
Yeah, she opens up the door and
Oh,
I see.
There's a-
apparently
box sitting on your doorstep.
plus her manager sitting on top of it, going, "Got the supplies."
So where are we all going to meet up for transport to the location?
Well, she's
Well,
at Harry's
yeah.
lab, and that's where she's gathering people.
This is
Hmm?
Sam speaking. Well, if the good Reverend Taniqua, if she set things up correctly, you shouldn't need to meet anywhere. You'll find your way there.
Walsh says noted. And at this point,
there's a almost sinister chuckle from David.
yeah. By the way, I'm
You
also making another.
hear.
Sorry, you were saying. No, you first. You first, me. She.
You hear another purr thump as the cat jumps from the table where he was sitting on the phone and goes to sit in front of the door looking at Faye like, "You coming or am I going by myself?"
On the side note, hey Menasha, do I owe you anything?
The lady's involved. The lady that's involved in this, I'm essentially under orders.
Okay. Out of character, by the way, that was 3 more successes on another Wits plus Crafts roll to restructure the graphene by a slight amount. This graphene is now built as a metamaterial, with the exception of Walsh's eyes, to be able to bypass visible light. Walsh has literally set up the nanites as basically as a invisible to visible light and class 4 bulletproof material. He's going to need it against Reynolds. This is not normal usage. This is only a one-time usage thing. And if you better believe his eyes are still visible, so his eyes might be visible in the big light. If she sees his eyes, he's done for in terms of the invisibility. I mean, and she can still see through it with aspects.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Perception is only bent slightly by the light bending thingy today. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's only an enhancement. It's not a true obfuscate or anything like that.
All right. Well, whenever you guys are ready,
Yep.
you can
Walsh
find your way there.
Yep. Walsh proceeds to open the door and says, "Ladies first," referring to Cynthia.
She essentially decides to drag the box inside, and her goal is helping push that. So she has both her goals currently.
Faye hangs up the phone and opens the door that the cat's sitting in front of and steps through.
You all, okay, those who have a symbol on the backs of their hands, which is most of you, I think, hear
Except
one
Cynthia.
last, that woman would try to take the crown from God if she wanted. If she got the chance. From Taniqua.
Walsh responds back through the voice network. Yeah, well, what is it they say? Pride goeth before the fall.
Faye giggles over the golden chorus network.
Get her, little man. Get her. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Good night, Taniqua.
Good night, Taniqua.
And with this in mind, as they
Hey,
get to
we
their
gotta talk
locations,
later.
as they get to their locations, there are 3 buildings currently being swept. Does any of the groups pick? And Walsh, Cynthia, and Faye presumably all take a different building as well.
I
All
presume
this prep.
I'm assuming that we all meet back up from the family when we arrive as well.
And I presume that I stop by Florian's really quick too.
Both are correct. And all this prep, all this searching is for naught. She's not there.
Any signs that she might have been at one point?
Well, there's a collection of mail sitting on a table in one of the buildings.
Name on the mail?
Grant Hill.
On a side note, Cynthia's going to go towards the front door and spirit touch it to see who all has gone in and out of here.
And Faye will take a piece of junk mail off of the table, one of the pieces of seemingly junk mail that's addressed to Grant Hill, and slips it in her pocket so that she can have Cynthia spirit touch it once they meet up again.
By spirit touching the door, you are smacked in the face with a no less than about 35 different people. Reynolds, however, has been here within the last week.
Is this the same building that the mail's piled up on?
Yes.
Okay, Faye goes to Cynthia and hands her the piece of mail. Can you tell me if Reynolds has touched this?
What's my dice pool? For
Well, don't worry about it. We'll go really cool.
Here.
Yeah, you'll get it.
she doesn't touch, like, she backs off from the door. It's like, wow, that's a lot of people. Okay. But she touches the envelope.
Okay.
Reynolds has handled it.
How long? And can I roll to actually determine that?
Again, within the week.
She's been here within the last week, so at least we have one lead.
Walsh is reunited at this other building, having just passed his self-control roll because he was about to frenzy at the fact that he couldn't find Reynolds. Walsh, having passed his self-control roll, or having gotten himself back under control, says, "Okay, so any sign of Reynolds for one thing, because we apparently missed her."
She's been in this building within the past week. Faye points to Cynthia. Spirit touch over there.
Cynthia
Walsh calls David up and says, "Has there been any sign of her in the other two buildings?"
No, but she tells
Will?
me her and
Nope.
alongside 30 other people too.
Had my boys sweep some of the area. I see nothing.
Cynthia kind of goes outside to see if there's any footprints or tire tracks that maybe she can track.
Walsh contacts Duke Menashe and says, "Well, since we've got at least one building where she's been, I recommend we put up a round-the-clock surveillance team to keep an eye on this building and see if she shows back up here. It's our only lead for now."
My head, Walsh.
It's
I'll
about that
put them
time
on
as
the
you guys are
rotation.
standing here making plans in this building. You hear the door opens.
Faye immediately pops up her one dot of obfuscate that she has and disappears.
Walsh is not visible unless his eyes are turned. Walsh proceeds to listen with his back turned.
Cynthia
Just in case.
quickly goes to hide and also pulls up Obfuscate 3. I mean, Obfuscate 2.
As the door opens, those that can't see, a certain Asian lady that you guys know to be Charlotte Caraway kind of stealthily, it's almost like she steps in and immediately puts her back to the wall, and it looks like she begins to kind of scan the room. At which point you see she reaches up to her ear and she speaks. Yeah, she's not here. Yeah,
Walsh
I know. I thought the
proceeds-
information was right too, but
Walsh proceeds to turn around upon hearing the voice, and big glaring eyes are basically the only thing that Caraway sees, unless she decides to use auspex to see through the suit.
at which point you see a revolver leveled with your face.
Yep. Walsh is gonna Walsh recognizing Charlotte Caraway. Wait, have the two of them met before?
Probably not in person, but you would know her by sight.
Yeah. Walsh says, "Ms. Caraway, if you're intending to take aim, make sure you aim for the eye socket."
Walsh?
Walsh hits a button on the side, and the nanites quickly move away from his head. Yep, that's me. And then quickly the nanites move back up again.
What are you doing in Reynolds Haven?
Trying to track her for a breach of the masquerade she did. She's just been stripped of status and is to be brought before the sheriff.
Well, I will be damned.
Walsh says, "Why? I'm assuming you're here for the same reason."
Yeah, I didn't know she'd been stripped.
Well, I was the one to make sure of that. And between me and Ashford, we made sure of that. I'm the one who lodged the charge of breach of the masquerade.
You did. What?
Walsh holds up his phone and says, "Have you heard about the quantum logic chips I've been circulating to certain kindred?"
Oh yeah, I couldn't help but hear it.
Yeah, Walsh said, "Yeah, she left one in a cell phone, which was in a Walmart for a full day. Had anybody found that, our entire existence would have been exposed."
Before you even get the rest of that sentence out, that revolver that was leveled with your face falls to her side with her other hand immediately grabbing the bridge of her nose.
Walsh says, "For the
It's
for the
about
record,
this
it
time.
wasn't-"
It's about this time.
Sorry, you were saying Cynthia. Cynthia first. No,
Sorry.
not Cynthia. Kay first.
Okay. It's about this time that the big orange cat wanders out from God's only knows where, bumps down in front of Charlotte Caraway, and tilts his head. Meow?
Is this yours, Mr. Walsh?
Walsh says, "No, that belongs to another of my associates who's hiding somewhere around here."
You also kind of
Faye speaks up, thus losing obfuscate. I'm right here next to you, Mr. Walsh.
there's a little bit of scuffling from the corner, and the ghoul comes. Is it safe?
Walsh says, "Yeah, come on out."
Did
Cynthia-
Charlotte close the door behind her?
Not completely.
Cynthia just kind of comes back in and just perks her head in. So what's... Oh, hello.
There's a at the door and a shit.
Walsh turns to the door.
About in time to see that revolver had also been leveled with the door.
Faye's gone under the table to pop obfuscate this time. Cats. And the cats disappeared somewhere.
A pause. And then there's a muttering. Everybody has heard enough Hebrew to recognize that it's Hebrew, but you don't know what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
There's a muttering in Hebrew. And then just me. Put it down.
Cynthia's also at the door too, because she went outside to investigate the tire tracks if there was any.
There
So,
weren't.
okay, so is she being the one being held at gunpoint right now, or?
No, Charlotte just aimed at the door.
Because somebody opened it without her knowledge.
And
But yeah,
Cynthia's at the door.
He's stepping like he's kind of he's opened it just enough to get through, and he's sidestepping with his hands up. It's just me. Put it down, Charlotte. Put it down.
How do I know it's you?
He drops to give her the real face.
Okay, no said.
That ugly man face, that ugly old man face, and then puts it back up. Good enough?
At which point you see as she's dropped the revolver and literally holstered it.
Uh-huh.
As you saw her, she kind of almost like she swallowed hard when you showed her the real face.
So Cynthia soon
Okay.
comes and follows and drops obfuscate coming in the door too. After it's
Again,
closed.
she draws.
Oh, whoa. Also, at
Charlotte, we're friends here. Quit being jumpy.
on the side
Can you
note,
stop?
Faye
Doing
busts
that,
up laughing.
please.
Faye busts up laughing under the table, causing her to lose obfuscate again.
at
Oh,
that, on the side note, at that, she also has a weapon drawn at her too from a ghoul defending, his master.
Okay,
David just holds out his hand to Charlotte and gives her the wave of hand it here.
Walsh turns to Cynthia. Walsh turns to Charlotte as she's had the bridge of her nose after all this, and says, By the way, Charlotte, it wasn't my fault, at least not entirely. Reynolds deliberately put my chip on a public phone. I trusted her to keep hold of that chip. We got it under control before it caused any damage, and I would have been notified if anybody had actually hacked the network. And he holds up the phone with the message switch.
In the meantime, the big orange cat plods over to David, sits down, looks up at him with this expression that just says, "I am surrounded by a bunch of idiots."
David looks between Charlotte and the cat, still holding the hand out to Charlotte for the gun, but squats down, scratches the cat on the head, and just nods at it and stands back up, still with the hand out.
What's going on in the corner? Please put it down.
At which point you see that Charlotte has holstered the revolver and slapped your hand, David.
What, slapped it away? Like, no?
No, she slapped the palm.
Charlotte? You can't be trusted right now with that piece.
Of course I can. And even if you take this one, trust me, I have others.
And
Walsh
just
says-
when you thought the tension couldn't get weirder, a giant bird crashes into the window like a Windex commercial.
Oh, son of a...
This, the ghoul raises his gun yet again.
Yes,
At the window.
The cat bumps his head down on the floor and puts his front paws over his head like this. It's like, oh my fucking fuck.
Cat just facepalmed.
And Cynthia just kind of has her.
Feline face palm.
Cynthia just kind of has, looking at her ghoul and just kind of looking back at the cat. She just has her hand in her, just head in her hand, just and rubbing her temple very slowly.
David just leans over and looks out the window. Somebody opened the window for Nate. He's an idiot and flew into it.
Walsh proceeds to.
Faye goes over and opens the window. You can come in now, Mr. Ashford.
He literally just proceeds to transform into his very much disheveled but handsome self.
At the squawk, Faye comes back, flails, and falls on her ass.
Walsh at this point turns
And
to
which
That's
you've
the
noticed-
only explanation. Because you've got eagle eyes, literally.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry, Will,
Ashford,
go ahead.
you see this before anybody else does. At which point you've seen that Charlotte, her eyes have kind of shifted around the room as she looks over to see that her hand had formed the shape of the revolver, but had not drawn it.
So I'm going to step to the side of the scary gun, just kind of like duck waddling in eagle form.
She's
And
I think the ghoul's the only one that might be pointing, but
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Cynthia's just face palming at it, and just again, she signals a hand saying, "It's okay, dude. Stop being so jumpy."
Walsh turns to Charlotte at this point and says, "Do we have any possible things like a lock of hair or something that you guys might be able to use to track her from here? Because I have tried
You can
every
get her blood.
technique."
You can get her blood. I can find her.
Cynthia goes back outside to.
Walsh actually has an idea, and this is Wits plus Craft specialty engineering. Walsh is literally going to rejig his cell phone, the cell phone flashlight specifically, because correct me if I'm wrong, blood does show up under ultraviolet, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, this should work. And that's one success. Going to re-roll to make a rolling success because this is a specialty craft. That's better. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes to rejig the flashlight and to rejig it. And now that Walsh has an ultraviolet flashlight, he starts scanning the building. Perception alertness. If Ashford's here, he may wish to assist me with a wits investigation roll under the same flashlight.
No roll needed.
Do I find blood?
Because, yeah,
Littered.
the place is littered with it.
Walsh
Now
literally
that you've had a chance to look, you know why she's not here. Somebody or something hit this place, and it hit it hard.
Oh.
Ooh. Walsh turns to Charlotte and says, is there any way of being able to differentiate Reynolds' blood out of all of this, assuming any of it's hers?
Yeah, but it's going to take a while.
It looks like somebody ran it through a blender and it looks
David
like
holds a finger to Charlotte and says, let me call in the cavalry. Be right back. And he goes out the same door. And about 30 seconds later, comes back in with a black-robed figure with gold trim on it.
Walsh, yep. Walsh.
Prof, this is
stands
Charlotte.
aside.
Charlotte, this is Prop. This is Prof. Y'all get comfy with each other. You're gonna be here a while.
On the side
What you actually see, Charlotte.
Is this
You
the
see
same
Charlotte
person?
actually
Is
turns
this
back to the door as you see she's apparently completed a conversation with someone. Yeah. Look in the van. Yeah, we're gonna need some collection bags.
And
What
then
the
you were
hell
saying something?
How do you not bring collection
out
bags?
of character?
Fine.
Out of character, is the Walt? Is this the same person that helped put up wards around the cat shelter?
Yes, you recognize
Way
the
back when?
robe. You recognize the robe.
So Faye waves from across the room. Hi, I think we've met.
The figure just nods again. Looks right at you and just nods. But he also reaches. He's got a cloak over the robe, also black. He reaches in the cloak, behind the cloak, and pulls something out, and pulls it open, and it's a bag full of test tubes.
Good.
Full
I'm
of
glad
glass
somebody out
vials.
here's got some sense.
Cynthia
And
kind of
he strings it back together. He pulls out a handful. They're all corked. He pulls out a handful and hands them to her, and ties it. Pulls out one and ties the rest back. Puts it away and starts going around the room.
On the side note, Cynthia is trying to use spirit touch outside to where she can actually see anything, either spirit touches or like the aura. See if anything's off outside.
So basically, what I'm assuming you're just walking, spirit, and touching random things.
Yeah,
ADD Markavian strikes again.
mostly the
That one we
ground
will
right
need to
now.
roll for.
Okay.
That one
By
we
the
will
way,
need to roll.
sorry, I'm going to type in the chat. Hang on.
Oh, I forget, empathy,
Empathy perception, dear. I got it.
hold on.
And I will be right back.
7 dice,
Okay.
gotcha. It's a coming.
Also, she does have a specialty in because perception sharp eyes.
All right, that is 4 successes. What in the heck are you touching?
She's randomly touching the ground to see if there's any trace of, just touching the outside to see if there's anything that is.
You're okay. Keep in mind, to the level of weirdness, you just exposed your brain by touching the ground. The ground has been around for long ass fucking time. So your brain is literally watching a slide
Dinosaur.
rule. Yes. Of dinosaurs, woolly mammoths, and all kind of crazy shit. And then You finally, as hours go by, start seeing humans.
Yeah.
She approaches that after a few minutes and tries to attempt to touch around the house.
Okay,
And-
touching one of the walls, you do almost instantly upon touching it, you see this scene of what looks like Reynolds being basically thrown against that wall.
Can I roll to post that over the Malky network so Faye can convey it to the others?
Or you could just open your mouth.
Well, she's outside, so.
Hmm.
And after that image fades, you see what kind of looks like the imprint of Reynolds' back in blood on that wall.
She yells out. She yells inside, "Guys, come here! I think I might have a lead," and just points to where it is.
Out of character, I did 3 rolls, 3 success intelligence academics roll to develop a mathematical model for blood spatter analysis, and 8 successes on an intelligence computer specialty quantum computing roll to have the cell phone look at the data through the camera and be able to determine where the fight started and who and where the blood spatter went to.
The fight started in this place, and the blood went everywhere. There were
Okay.
There was apparently more than one assailant.
Okay. So Walsh proceeds to
had to
walk
have
over.
been.
Yeah. Walsh proceeds to walk over to the wall, and now I can't actually. Okay, I don't actually have the tools to build this. Crap. I had an idea for a Wits plus Crafts roll, but Walsh doesn't have the actual physical tools on him to build what I want to.
Literally, a very annoyed eagle scree, and then Ashford is shifting into his human form. All right, order, please. Dear,
Yeah. Walsh.
if you're going to touch objects, touch specific ones. And you, Mr. Walsh, you're a bloody genius, but you're trying to be Batman, and it's scaring me. All right.
Walsh basically says, "Is it possible to analyze this particular wall that Cynthia has pointed out to figure out whether or not this is Reynolds' blood, and if so, where she might be from here?"
He looks over at Charlotte kind of expectantly.
Yeah.
Well, without having a sample of her blood, it's going to be hard to know because I'd have to compare it against something.
Don't suppose she had child or anything.
Cynthia just kind of keeps staring at the wall outside, just like, guys, can you come here for a minute? There might be something you can actually use here.
And this is inside the room?
Hold on. I need to
Against
make
one
a
wall?
text red owl.
No, it's outside.
Oh, it's outside. Oh, okay.
As Faye walks past the group to
David's
go outside
already-
to where
David
Cynthia is.
and Prophet are already walking out.
Yeah, as Faye walks past Charlotte to go and meet Cynthia, she hands Charlotte the piece of junk mail she'd picked up earlier. This might be one of her ghouls or one of her child or something that this person this is addressed to. If we can track them down, then maybe
You know who Grant Hill is?
no.
Grant Hill is an old professional basketball player. As she stuffs it into the pocket of her coat.
Walsh. By the way, Red Owl receives a text. Walt, can you check the chat?
Yeah, I got it. Remind me.
Walsh says the one that we secured with the Walsh text back, the one that we secured with the
Game.
out of game, the one with the quantum logic chip. She touched it before it went on its merry way. That one was secured by David. If that cell phone is still available and still has her fingerprint oil on the cell phone, because we all would leave a residue even when dead, that could be triangulated by Charlotte. It would have her DNA in it and therefore could be tracked.
Not nearly as poetic as blood, but it is technically a bodily secretion. He looks over at the Tremere mage like, what the fuck kind of answer you got for scientist nerd?
Face stop. Face stop.
David pulls up his
As an
phone.
out-of-game note, involving vampire physiology, vampires themselves do not leave fingerprints unless there is a medium for them to be left in, i.e.,
Yeah, because there is no oil.
oil, sand, ink, some kind of medium for them to be left on.
Okay, well, to be fair,
Because as they have died,
Face stops.
there is no oil in the skin to leave a
Left.
fingerprint.
So
Okay,
there would be
out of
no
character
possibility
question.
of DNA. Unless she left blood on it.
Question.
Mhm.
Just because Faye would know this, but I do not. When vampires brush their hair, do they still get broken hairs off on the bristles and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay, Faye stops, puts a finger in the air like this. If we could find her hairbrush, there could be hairs left.
Which could mean
Which
that
would
we
mean
use
that there would
this
be
psychotelemetry over here to ping a little closer to the truth. You're a genius, Miss Faye. Thank you.
Well, I don't think I've ever been called that before, but thanks.
Cynthia's gonna keep snooping
Oh.
around outside with aura perception to.
But the first yeah, this is about Cynthia. The first spot you looked at, David actually walked over to you and put a hand on your shoulder, and you heard in your head "Gibby," and you felt your eyes being manipulated.
All right, guys, I'll be right back.
okay.
Aha! And he nods over to Prophet, who's joined him, and Prophet starts scraping that wall.
Cynthia just kind of nods, knowing, just kind of can tell what you saw too, and she's just like, "Is there any possible way there could be a trail leading to some other place?"
Possibly, but my advice?
No, that
Don't-
was only to David.
Yeah.
What? Say it again.
Like, that was only for David because he's currently out there.
But say it.
Is there any possible way that there could be a trail leading elsewhere?
Well, this isn't in the normal rituals that we've learned, but that are learned in what we're a part of. But we've developed a new one, and if Charlotte's anywhere near, he'll grin at her like, I got you. Like he just like there's this sense of I just went up to you sort of thing. Be able to, in your head, you hear this. But Charlotte didn't hear any of the conversation, but she just got this grin from David.
Yeah, literally. She's
Meanwhile,
still inside the building. Yeah.
Cynthia nods.
Meanwhile, inside the building, what do I need to roll to be able to find the bathroom, or do I just start randomly opening doors until I find the bathroom that's got Sarah's hairbrush on it?
Well, I don't reckon there's too many rooms in
Bathrooms are
there.
probably easier to search. Bathrooms are a building's probably easy to search. I don't know if Will has anything set up, but like
Mhm.
special, but
Okay.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be back soon, so this way we can finish off the. Because the thing is that depending on how this goes, I'm thinking that this will either close the door to the Reynolds story, or
Add more.
yeah, exactly.
uh-huh.
I have a feeling it would probably add more to it, though.
I gotta say though, why in the world are you all so nervous of guns? It's not like they'll kill you. We're basically walking corpses. Jesus.
It still hurts when they hit us.
Cynthia just kind of screams from outside. I don't know, extra protection?
Mm.
Getting shot still hurts. I can tell
Yes,
you from
I agree.
experience. I can tell you from experience, we still feel pain. I've been blown up 2 or 3 times since coming to this gosh-forsaken state.
I know, and I've been
Like, what is
beaten
wrong
by
with you
wall
people?
and had my eyes boiled in the back of my head. And survived daywalking. A whole bunch of other mess. Do you want me to go down the list? We survived a lot of stuff.
And my point is, it still hurts like hell.
True,
I
but
would rather avoid it if possible.
fair enough, but I'm just saying you don't all
Thank
need to
you.
be so twitchy over a gun. It's not like it's going to just jump up and bite you.
On a side note to Walt, would she have, since she's been activating Auspex, do you think that, like, Auspex 1 would be in effect or no?
Auspex 1
Wait, what?
is enhanced senses, just basically makes perception easier, depending upon which one you're using.
Well, I've been using 4 and 3, so, I mean,
Well, no, those
3
are,
and 2.
dear, those are separate powers, entirely
Yeah.
separate.
You
It's
have,
not
you
like
have to activate them individually.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she barely hears.
Mhm.
All right. So,
But Will, Just to
are
catch
you
you up?
continuing?
to catch you
Yeah,
up,
catch me up.
David put his hand on Cynthia's shoulder to see and used telepathy to see what she was seeing through her blood. To see the fight happen, the fight start, and Prof is scraping the wall there to see if he can
All right,
get
you-
anything.
David got more than she did.
Oh,
You
okay.
got the part where Reynolds got through against the wall. You also got the part that caused her to be thrown against the wall.
Okay.
What caused her to be thrown against the wall was large, angry, and furry.
Oh.
Okay, there's this pause. Like, okay, backtracking a little bit. There's this. Wait a minute. And then Cynthia sees in her mind David's nice face with a grin. And then he shares. And she sees it. Feel free to share that with your family.
She sent it over the Malkin network to where certain other ones can see. Or at least the ones.
We
nearest to
may
Faye
we may
pauses,
need to call in a friend of mine.
Faye pauses
He says
with,
out
her,
loud.
with her hand on a doorknob inside, about to open the door and see if it's the bathroom. And she just gets this look of shock on her face. Werewolf?
And just as soon as you get that
And the
word
cat's out of the
your
bag.
mouth,
Pardon?
as soon as you get that word out of your mouth, you hear the following words from Ashford. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Literally. One.
And then there's a. Oh, it's late. She may not be awake. And this is out loud. He says, "Prof, keep going, but I'm going to take a different tack with this." And the hooded figure just nods and keeps scraping.
Cynthia's gonna go looking around for now any furs to see if we can track those instead of her blood.
Actually, you do find some.
So, after a little bit of looking or a lot?
After a bit of, well, actually quite a bit, you actually are able to find some on this chain link fence that looks like the fence has been cut. Well, more like exploded open. And you find that there are tufts of fur on the chain links.
She will carefully bring that back and give it to Charlotte and say, "Can you work with this?"
Charlotte's eyes kind of go big and saucer. Please tell me that's not what I think it is.
Yep.
As David is rounding the corner to go have a conversation, he comes in because I'm guessing Charlotte's inside. He comes in,
Yeah.
As this is happening, looks over and goes, "Yeah, I need to make a call. Be right back." And he goes into a separate room.
In the meantime, Faye's looking around, hand still on the doorknob. I wasn't expecting werewolves to get involved in this.
Literally,
Walsh,
flap, flap, flap. Creep! I'm gone.
Cynthia just kind of makes a response out loud. I kind of don't want to figure out who she pissed off this time.
Obviously, something beyond our pay grade.
Also, is this, you kind of see the ghoul just slightly following you, Ashford, and just trying to escape the house.
By the way, I'm simulating the conversation in the other room.
Mm-hmm.
So for the muttering you hear.
We're gonna wrap up here soon. I was talking to the ant. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Click. Okay. Looks like she picked off one of Lights' kids.
So is she dead then?
Don't know.
Either that or she wishes she was.
She wouldn't go into details. May have to call her in when she's in a better mood. But it's being handled.
So Reynolds is no longer a problem, says Walsh?
She wouldn't tell me the details. She wouldn't say if she was chasing, if she was being chased, or if she was captured, or what. But she is saying it's been handled.
Well then, Walsh says that leaves the one final issue on the docket, which you can confirm with the Harpy later. But I've put my name in for Duke Reynolds' replacement now that she's been stripped and handled. Again, your decision as to what to do with that at a later time, says Walsh.
Oh. Oh, hang on. Will send me stuff. I want to check. I may need to tweak some things here in my head. Bear with
All right,
us.
keep check again. What?
Oh, okay. He steps out and then there's a. He pulls up his phone. Yes, ma'am. Oh. Oh. Seems something worked out for us, huh? Yes, ma'am. I'll tell him. Okay, that's just funny. her kids was going through, and he air quotes, puberty. Don't know what the kid did with her.
Oh, jeez.
She's gonna, but by me doing this, she now knows there's another of her family around. So, she's gonna go looking for that kid. We may. Somebody who's a little more liked by the fuzzy butts. Sorry, ma'am. May need to go talk to this kid, but I'm gonna let it be her for now. We might have use of that, and he points at the clump of fur. We might have use of that later.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, let's let her handle this.
Cynthia just kind of looks wide-eyed.
Reynolds is up in the air right now.
No, but Cynthia looks
This plays out.
at David and just shakes her head like, not it, not it, not it, not it.
Walsh basically says,
I wasn't
Charlotte
meaning
speaking.
you, dear.
Charlotte speaking.
You, dear. Oh, go ahead. Will.
Well, you know I'm not going.
I wasn't meaning any of you horrible monsters. And he grins. Obviously kidding.
You see, Charlotte literally grasps at her chest as she looks at David
She's
with
been
her
shot.
her bottom lip open.
Walsh,
Who loves you, baby? Anyway, we're gonna let Grandma handle this one, and she'll come tell us when things are settled or if things escalate and need to be handled.
Walsh says, I may have to contact a certain contact of mine back at MIT if this goes sideways.
Bill it, Walsh.
Walsh proceeds to hit his cell phone and contacts a certain Dr. Jonathan Nesbitt, his old thesis supervisor back at MIT. That one.
Which you get a voicemail.
Okay. Yeah, you get voicemail.
Walsh says, yeah, Dr. Nesbitt, this is Walsh calling. When you get a chance, could you call me back? A certain element of mutual interest has come up, and we may need to smooth over certain colleague-related issues. Thanks. Bye.
Out of
With that,
character, you may have laid a gigantic goose egg, brother.
May or may not.
May have, because Pavs, you're not very humane. You smell like worm ass crack.
Yeah,
He
I'm at
doesn't.
work.
Not exactly. Not exactly. No.
Well, the thing is that even though my character is an Entelechy 9 and recently
anymore.
flipped, pardon?
Yeah.
When did
he
I
doesn't
drop?
really smell like his worm as much as he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that even though I'm an Entelechy 9, though, the thing is that, like I said, we have a mutual. I have an ally on my friend. I have an ally on my friends on my sheet, which I haven't contacted in a long while.
Oh, ally.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
all
ally.
right.
Yeah, it's an ally.
Yeah, ally.
It's like,
This is why
anyway,
he contacted Dr. Jonathan Nesbitt. This is an old ally,
All right.
and they only
Like-
agreed to work on it together because of the fact they have a mutual common goal of saving humanity.
Ooh.
But the thing is that
You hear a. I'm just doing. It's not a yapping dog type. It's just an angry lady talking.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I under. He looks at Walsh.
Pardon?
Why?
Why did I contact my old ally?
He's up there.
Yes,
She's
but
down here.
I thought that he might be able to
She's
put in.
handling it.
I thought that if it was necessary for someone to talk to him, then perhaps Dr. Nesbitt might be able to give a way of introduction, if you get my drift.
Oh, out of
Yes,
character.
ma'am.
I'm assuming.
He goes back to looking away from you and says, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I understand. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Bye." Click. He pulls out his phone and hits the button. We're gonna let her handle it. If any of y'all need to talk to her, I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to talk to her, talk to me and we'll figure it out.
Noted. says
Right now,
Walsh.
she's a little upset and frazzled about a new kid in the family. So let's let her
Right.
settle down the kid. We'll figure out what happened to Sarah after.
Cynthia just kind of looks at David standing next to her, smiles and slightly smacks. Did I actually do good for once?
You called attention to it. You did good.
Walsh smiles and walks over to Cynthia and lays a kiss on her forehead.
She just kind of gives you this what face, like, ah.
That WT question mark. What?
Yep. Walsh walks away and says, Duke Menashe, there is another issue that needs to be addressed once we've got a chance to talk back with the Harpy again. Duke Reynolds was officially stripped of her status because of the breach of the masquerade that we exposed with the quantum logic chip. And because of that fact, I've put my name in and have received backing from 2 dukes already to be when we get to the next meeting to vote me in as the replacement for Duke Reynolds for her district. I'm not asking for whether or not you will support me, but I wanted to put the bee in your bonnet that this may be happening and that you could think about your answer accordingly, whichever way you decide to go.
I'll consider it. Well then. Looks like this party's over. Well. I'm going to go back home because I got family to, because they were looking for a tussle. Anyway,
Wait, how are we gonna get back?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I should mention, Walsh has been wearing all this graphene armor for now. Walsh hits a button, and all of a sudden, all the nanites collapse into this nice little round ball with a small button on the side. Walsh takes the ball and hands it to David and says, by the way, replicate this for your entire family. I think they'll enjoy the specific parameter. I think they'll enjoy the specific parameters I built into this thing.
Cynthia's response, ooh, shiny.
Walsh
Hand it
says,
to him, so you're the closest. You see just the barest of smirks.
Walsh
It's
literally
not
said-
enough for anybody else to notice.
Yep. But Walsh literally says to David, class 4 armor using graphene, light as hell, and specifically set up as a metamaterial. So just in case obfuscate is difficult to do in a given area, due to cameras or what have you, this thing will bend visible light. Gives you just a little bit of an extra edge for the family.
Even Cynthia's impressed by that one. It's like,
He takes the ball, puts it in his coat. I like you, kid.
In the meantime,
At which point?
Faye is sitting on the edge of a table and seems to be considering something. She glances over to Walsh and says, speaking of hell, is it exothermic or endothermic?
Yes.
Walsh says, depends. I once had a woman who told me that hell would freeze over before she slept with me. I won't tell you the results of that experiment.
That's probably for the best.
Oh boy.
If you
Well,
aspire
you
to
notice-
Dante's,
Yes.
If you notice that Charlotte has leaned into you, and you hear her kind of whispering or something in her ear. You know you want to share, right?
Walsh turns to her and says, I owe the family automatically. As for the rest of
you can owe me too.
Walsh literally,
you suddenly see Faye's head over your shoulder, kind of in between your head and Charlotte's head. Out of the deal.
Walsh literally says, I'm afraid, Walsh says, if you want me to owe you in exchange for what I think you do, you're going to have to get Cynthia's permission.
To which
a miss so hard.
you see she backs away as you see her eyes cut to Faye. And as she turns and walks, you hear her say something under her breath. Fucking Faye.
You guys repeat that? I kind of had to leave for.
I said that if Charlotte wanted Walsh to owe her the armor in the way that she was planning, she was going to have to get Cynthia's permission.
On the side note, at this, Cynthia just kind of glanced at Charlotte and just with a odd expression of,
Guthrie, you misread the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Yep,
Completely.
and Walsh did too.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And it's all because Faye had to open her mouth and put the ball squarely into the field.
At this awkward moment, you hear a click.
And the graphene
and
armor
David just walks out.
Yep.
And it closes behind him. And Walsh gets a call.
Yep. Walsh gets a call. Yep.
Yeah, he answers it.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, Walsh, tell everybody, think of where their home is. I woke the sleeping dragon briefly to get another favor out of her. They can all go home.
Tell her Walsh answers back. If she wants a copy of this technology, I've got a couple of tweaks that might be up her alley. Not that she can't do it herself, but it's nice to have sometimes get a gift from someone who can do it from someone else. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily gonna like the method, but we'll see. In other words, this is a conversation, so it's just like we'll see. But yeah, tell everybody that door that I walked out of. Think of home, and they can all go back to where they were.
Walsh nods and says, Walsh nods and basically laughs his ass off and proceeds to open the door for everyone to go back to their respective homes.
On a side note,
and Charlotte is exiting.
Sorry.
And Charlotte is exiting. She doesn't even try to mask this. She turns back and she looks at Faye. And her middle and pointer finger, she points at her eyes, then at Faye, and back at her eyes. As she walks out the door.
Faye just waves.
Watching you.
Faye turns to Cynthia. You want to stay at the cat shelter with me tonight? We'll go wedding dress shopping in the morning.
Faye just says, I have something to do really quick and I'll meet you there.
Oh, by the way, sorry, this is a roll. I need to do a roll as Charlotte is leaving. Sorry, one small additional roll. 10's got neutralized, so that wasn't quite what I was hoping for, but that's still 4 successes to briefly hack into Charlotte's phone from Walsh's cell phone to get her number and leave a text as she's leaving.
Okay.
Walsh
Okay,
says,
what is the text?
the text says, even though that particular offer may be off the table, contact me anyway. We'll talk about that nanite armor for you. We'll negotiate a price.
You get no response back.
No, I know, but like I said, it was just a last leaving text for her. Like, contact me, we'll talk. And with that, Walsh opens the door for everyone else, and assuming they head home.
Mm-hmm. Well, on a side note, she actually drops by Florian's to. Yeah, and you just got that through the Moki network. Just to give
Florian back the gun.
And then goes to Faye's cat shelter through it, if that's okay.
Well, Walsh heads back to his lab, and pulls open a drawer where there are 2 more balls set up in the way with small buttons on them, in the way that the one that he handed to David. Pulls another one, slips it in his pocket, and goes, "I'm going to need a lot more of these coming up." And with that, unless there's anything else, the scene ends.
On a side note, you will probably see, if you start looking, some extra money just lying around, and certain ones saying Walt's research money in envelopes. But other, if you keep going, yeah, you'll find spare stuff around there too.
Walsh proceeds to hunt around his lab. I'll make a perception alertness roll to see what he finds.
Essentially, first one is in the drawer, and if you continue to look around, you'll find more.
Yeah, 2 successes to find. How much money do I? How much money? This is between Cynthia and the admins. How much money does Walsh find in total in these Walsh's research money envelopes?
Let me put it
roughly 20 favors.
Okay, that'll hold Walsh for a while.
And on the side note, whether if he decides to look around more.
Okay, let's take a second look. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no.
What's he gonna find? 1 success. What does he find?
I'll go 5 favors hidden in the walls.
25 favors. Nice. Walsh is literally going to.
If you care to look, but the other ones you find are not labeled, so.
Walsh proceeds to put the 5 that are not labeled in the drawer because they were not marked for him, and he puts the 20 favors that were marked for him in a secret location, which I will not disclose in this episode. And with that, unless there's anything else, the scene ends. Anything else?
I have nothing.
After coming from Florian's, comes to Faye's cat shelter and is safely there.
Yep.
The princess has fallen asleep again.
Yep. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for another scene of Tarheel by Dark.